A few years ago, you were struggling through. You had a back injury. You feeling good this go around?
Those were the dark days. I hurt my back so bad. I threw it out on the Thursday Pro-Am, hitting out of a sand trap. Just torqued it so bad, and I went down to my knees. I thought, oh no.
Good shot though.
It just got
good shot though.
Smoked it.
Yeah, okay, good. Worth it. It was worth it. Then.
If I smoked it, I mean, it hit the lip, shot straight up, and basically came right down 5 feet away.
It wasn't DeChambeau. It wasn't.
Oh no, that was a great shot. That was a once in a lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah, he deserved the championship.
Yours was
Yours
was a once in a lifetime.
Pretty much. It was pretty much once in a lifetime from a dork factor. But anyway, yeah. I for the next 3 days, I was in just absolute pain. I could barely tee up my ball. I had to squat down like a ballerina does those pirouettes. I couldn't bend over, so I had to do deep knee bends to put my
squats.
It was a joke. It was bad.
So you were actually following the chiropractor's advice to bend with your knees. It's your knees, not bend over at the waist. You're like, see, look, I'm doing it now.
Well, it was funny too because I couldn't swing the golf club. I couldn't swing it, so I was doing this little half. It looked like Tim Conway, Dorf on golf or whatever. It was old man golf, and I played 3 days with barely swinging old and slow, and I shot the exact same I would have shot as if I was swinging out of my shoes.
There's a lesson.
There is a lesson, and I did with such minimal effort. I did the exact same thing. So I learned a valuable lesson, which is you don't have to swing so hard.
What's the excuse this year, though?
So I've got so many great.
Got to pre-plan them.
Yeah. Look, I've got tendonitis in the elbow.
Oh, there you go.
Something's going on with my Achilles. I don't know what it is. I don't even know.
It could pop anytime.
It could pop. Like I feel like a rubber band being stretched. Because even my knee, what is that tendon in the front of your knee? I went down to look at a putt on Wednesday. Something gave. I swear. Everything on me is like just ready to break.
Well, golf is a very physical sport. We know this.
And that's what makes everybody die laughing. They're like, how do you get hurt playing golf? Very easily. Very easily.
You try hitting out of that sand trap. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
I don't know what that was like.
Not to mention, by the way, we are up at altitude. We're at 6,800 feet up here in Tahoe. And if you walk this course, it's a 6.5 mile, 7 mile walk. In the mountains, it's a hilly course, and the way I play it, it's like a 10-mile walk. Okay? So I cover this course. I go back, I zigzag around this course.
Well, you want to see it all.
Yeah, why walk right down the middle when you can actually see the scenery?
Thank you. It's so beautiful. I'm not passing up any of this. I'm soaking it all up.
How many fours today? What's the over/under?
For what?
How many times do you yell four?
Oh, my God.
Was it 3.5 over/under?
Well, I'd say 18. 18 holes, about 18 times.
Our first day, Tuesday, we're broadcasting, and people are on the driving range, and we get here, and all of a sudden in the background, you're four. I'm like, I've never heard somebody yell four on a driving range before. Yeah. It wasn't you.
Well, you guys are actually, you guys have got a great setup this year. Instead of being over there by the food tent, you guys are over here, and you are actually looking at everybody on the driving range. And you're in a weird kind of 45-degree angle off the range. So if somebody chili dips it, you're going to catch a hot one.
We've had a few shanks over here. This tree has been a lifesaver. This tree has got
I bet.
Derek Carr came over and apologized yesterday. Derek Carr hit a whole bunch. Yeah, your balls are all littered around here.
He's just still mad from the Raider days, right?
No, that's
right. He was aiming for it.
He saw you guys were KC, and he was like, I'm going to give these guys a little taste.
We interviewed him right before, that morning, and then he comes over in the afternoons hitting golf balls and shit. I'm like, was it that bad? Interview was that bad, Derek?
Just say, hey, you didn't enjoy it. You don't have to go. That's very passive-aggressive, Derek, okay?
It's so fun to watch all these athletes and coaches because they're obviously they're great in their field, right? But they can't turn off the competitiveness. Right. They can't turn it off. It's a friendly, happy, wonderful tournament, but it's hilarious when they get out there. They're so hungry to play well and do well that when they have a bad hole or whatever, you could feel the club wanted to break in their
Mike
hands.
Vrabel, I feel like, is a guy that I do not want to be with if he hits a bad shot.
And especially the guys that are retired, it's like this is an opportunity again to get that competitive juice.
Absolutely.
To get what it feels like. To be around the guys. And
they miss the competition. They want the competition. Now, for the knuckleheads like me and Cable Guy, and some of these other guys, we're like, whatever, man. Watch everyone just be safe. It's funny, too, because Like I've been out with cable guys specifically, and he'll tell people, "Hey guys, I need y'all to back up. Give me some room on this." And they'll laugh and they go, "Go on, cable guy, you're the best. Get her done." He's like, "I'm serious. I don't want to hurt anybody." And they keep laughing, and he goes, "Okay." And sure enough, he just puts one right in someone's kneecap.
Oh man!
And he always feels bad, but I'm like, "You warned him, man. You warned him. If they don't listen, it's on them."
That's
it's
all
like
them.
Travis told Jason. Jason was worried about his first time being in the American Century Championship and all the spectators and the fans, and Travis said, if you hit them, don't worry about it. They bought tickets to an amateur tournament.
Exactly.
They bought tickets to watch amateurs play golf. What do you expect?
Fair warning. Fair warning.
Well, and they get the ball, right? You get to go home with a souvenir at that point.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, take a picture of whatever the knot is on the leg or the head or whatever that might be. You always get a chance to MC celebrity karaoke, too, and that was last night, and that was a ton of fun. That took place. And Kelsey, Travis, gets off a plane, and we didn't know, like, okay, is he going to help MC this year with Rob like he did last year, but Brian Baumgartner did last night. And then we're like, well, I didn't know if Kelsey was going to be there. And then he's on stage.
Yeah.
Not only did he show up, he goes right on stage and rocks some White Snake.
I got to tell you, Travis impresses me. He continues to impress me every day. Just when I'm like, man, that guy's top of the top. He tops that. It's really impressive. He was filming something all day. He jumps on a plane, gets up here, gets on the plane, gets in the car, drives straight to the stage, gets out of the car, runs from the car to the stage, and nails "Here I Go Again" by Whitesnake. Nailed it.
Bold choice, by the way. I mean, that's no tequila where you can sing one word.
Exactly. He's leaning into it. He's bringing it, and dominated, and then walked off to the applause and praise of everyone in the crowd.
And the performance, too. He wasn't just singing. He
Exactly.
was performing.
He was performing.
It's almost like he came from, filming all day, like you said.
Yes. It was truly amazing. If Tawny Katane, God rest her, if she was there last night, she would have started dancing right there on the stage. It was that powerful.
Would have brought a car out for her. Brought a car out.
Yeah, that's right. We were my wife and I talked to Kylie Kelsey last night after Travis's performance, and we were talking to her about that, and she goes, "Look, everybody loves Travis, and I told him, I'm going to be your number one humbler, okay?" And so there were only a few boos from me. It was just at the beginning. The boos were just at the beginning. I let him go ahead and perform, but I just want to make sure he knows that somebody has to humble him from time to time, and I feel like that's my job as his sister-in-law.
There's too many humblers out there. I last night, so as my hosting, part of my hosting gig, I always take the first song to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, Stones, by the way, to do that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Right, and it never goes well. It never goes well. The monitor guy that has the words, he always screws with me. He always screws with me. So the words, he was scrolling them so slowly. We were past. I was like, well, we're out of lyrics. So now we're winging it. But so at the end of the night, we voted. We went down by crowd applause, and we said, Baumgartner said, well, how about Riggle? And all you had to do was not clap. And that's all you had to do. But there was a section over to the left that was boo. I was like, hold on. Just don't clap. You don't have to boo. That seems like you're really leaning into it. That's overkill.
No sound, I'm eliminated.
Exactly.
Booing, you're actually counterproductive because now you're making sound. Now I've actually moved on to the semifinals.
It was actually a woo. It was a woo, not a boo.
They were wooing you.
Well, listen, I deserved to be booed. It's not that the performance was not
Nobody
great.
that gets up there deserves to be booed.
But at the same time, it's like, now you're just wasting our time. Like, you're filling time with boos. We should be moving on to the next thing. Plus, I was disqualified from the beginning anyway because I was one of the judges.
You can't win. That's just unfair.
Exactly.
It's unfair.
Thank you.
By the way, you saw that some tree come on you, right? You saw that?
Yeah.
That was because a ball hit the tree. That's what I'm telling you. This tree is a lifesaver, man.
When you see some things fall from the tree, we know that we were at least somewhat in the direction of a golf ball that went errant from somebody on the driving range.
Well, you tell me. I'll actually, because I got my back to the driving range, and you guys are facing the driving range. So if I see your eyes get really big, I know I'm in trouble.
Start to do this.
Start doing just to mess with you.
That's right. Rob Riggle is our guest hanging out at the American Century Championship. One of the things I was wanting to talk to you about is we see that on HBO, Larry David finishes up his show in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I've heard so much about that is like how much is written and how much is just ad libbed, and like this year the two different scenes you're in with Larry, whether that be at the breakfast table, the brunch table, or out on the golf course, how much is that ad libbed and how much is it like, all right, here's some bullet points of what we're going to talk about, or is it these are your lines?
No, it's definitely not these are your lines, but they have a gist of what they're
Yeah.
doing. They have an understanding of what the scene is about,
Yeah.
what needs to be accomplished in the scene, what needs to be said. Sometimes there's some specific words because it pays off later or pays off here.
I see.
And they have script supervisors and the directors, and they have people keeping track of the story, but it frees everybody up in the scene to kind of play. And Larry is really gracious with letting people play. That's why he invites the people he invites, I think, is because he's like, he likes their comedy or likes the fact that they improvise or whatever. So that's why you're there, is to have fun and play. And so he's really gracious because I'll throw things. I threw a couple things and he was like, yeah, or if it tickled him, that was like, if I did something that tickled him and I saw him laugh or whatever, that was like, that felt so good. That always feels good. Anytime you in whether it was the other guys or whether it was Step Brother, anytime I made Will Ferrell smile or laugh or whatever, always made me happy. That's when I felt like, okay, I don't care what I do the rest of the day. This is all
You
good.
sure it's Will Ferrell, not Chad Smith? You sure? You sure?
Listen. He was playing drums with his pencils, so it could have very easily been.
Could have been.
Yeah, it could have been.
Oh, he was pretty good, though. It's funny because Will Ferrell gave an interview by James Caan and said that the whole time James Caan was like, I just don't know, during filming of Elf.
Yeah.
And James Caan was like talking to him, was like, I don't find you funny at all. And Will Ferrell was like, it was just weird the whole time. And he's like, anytime somebody asks me, like, Will Ferrell, what's he like? And he's like, I just tell them, sorry, you're not funny to me. Like, I don't know what you're doing. And Will Ferrell was like, he was serious.
Yeah.
And the whole time he goes, what's crazy about that movie is anytime you see James Caan being annoyed, he's like, he was actually annoyed at me during the movie. Just didn't think I was funny. We go to the premiere, we leave, and he goes, I got to tell you, nothing you were doing I thought worked. But now that I've seen it, brilliant. Absolute brilliance. And Will Ferrell said, that's all I needed to. So he said it was actual annoyance on the screen. So now next time I watch Elf, I'll be able to see that James Caan was actually annoyed by Will Ferrell while they were filming it.
That's
funny.
another thing too. I'd never take it personally if someone's like, "You're not my cup of tea, man.
Yeah.
You're not my cup of tea." I'm like, I get it.
Okay.
There's a lot of actors and comedians out there that's not my cup of tea, but it doesn't mean I don't appreciate what they're out. I appreciate
Name
the
them.
effort.
Now we're going to name them all, and we're going to have a...
That's why we have so many people. That's why we have so many choices and selections. You know,
Aren't you playing with Nate? You're saying that about Nate Bargatze?
No,
playing
I'm
with
not
him
saying
today.
that. I
My
love
goodness.
Nate Bargatze. I love Nate.
We saw him last night.
And I am playing with him today.
You are. You
Yeah.
got a little comedy trio there.
So one up each other's the goal. You're going to keep trying to keep it going.
You can't one up him.
Or it's going to be improv where everyone goes one word at a time, and you have to keep the story
That's
going.
Nate's another one. Nate is he's stiff upper lip. So if I get him to smile, I always feel like that's an accomplishment too.
I'll let you know. I laid the groundwork with him last night to go back to Big Slick.
Yeah.
I was just saying you got to go back to Big Slick.
Good.
He wants to. He wants to.
Yeah, he was so great, and when he came and he just crushed it so hard, and he's just a good person. So I've talked to him as well.
Yeah. I assume you have. Yeah.
Oh, so it's only Sterling that got it done. Okay. Now, at least we know now that if Nate returns, we don't have to hear Sterling going, see, I did
Well,
that. I was the one that greased the wheels.
Credit. I'm taking credit.
Greased the wheels, got that thing rolling, man. It's all me.
But yeah, hopefully he makes it back. I hope he does. I think he will. He seems like he's down for it. With him though, it always comes down to schedule. The guy's got a monster schedule.
Yeah.
And
Well, you can make this a course, though.
well, come on now. Let's not judge it. Don't be so hasty.
I'm with you.
I build this into my. This is my. I start with this and I build around it.
You build it, okay.
Yeah.
What's 2025 look like? Well, I know July. I know there's a week in July. 2025 is blacked out.
I do tell my agents and managers, like, beginning of July to call it the end, July 20th. Just don't. I'm not doing anything. I'm not available.
Block it off.
And then I wait. And then I wait and I wait and I wait. And I fingers crossed. And then when the invite comes, I'm like, yes, because you never know.
Is it an email? Is it
an
like
email?
It's like a big okay. I didn't know if like UPS dropped it off or like you got to call like the Hall of Fame. You know,
yeah. That guy shows up in a yellow jacket.
You're waiting around, knock at the door, like please. I got the honey. We did it. We got the invite.
Just checking the junk folder, like, oh, please. You got to send to spam.
But I do. I'm not even kidding. Like when the email comes. It's kind of, I get up and I'm like, whoa, yeah. I walk around the office and it makes the day. It may even make the week, let's be honest.
Yeah. I didn't know if maybe there was a technicality or something that's like, look, Rob, we're going to have you here, but you do have to MC the karaoke, okay?
No, I do that just because it's fun.
Yes. Because I heard the story that Jeff Passan said that Pete Alonso, they were trying to find somebody in the home run derby. They didn't have the names, and Pete Alonso said, I'll do it again this year as long as I'm an all-star. That's how we got on the All-Star team. Is because they needed a name in the home run derby.
Really?
And I'm like, you know what? I guess use it if you can, but it's like
that feels like illegal.
Passan's like he's not having an All-Star first.
I didn't even know it was possible.
I didn't either.
That's tampering. That cannot be legal.
Oh, but that's from Jeff Passan.
That's just good old-fashioned American leverage.
That's exactly right. I don't really want to do the home run derby, but I'll do it if I'm an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Hey, they needed the name. They needed somebody there to do the home run derby, and at least we got Bobby Witt. We got Bobby Witt there. And,
I love Bobby Witt. I love our Royals. I've been wearing this. I have this LA hat on.
I know. I didn't want to throw you under the bus.
Should I mention Teoscar Hernandez in the home run derby too?
Here's the thing. I got on this LA hat, and the only reason is because I like it.
It matches. It
matches
your outfit.
I love 47 brand. I love the stuff they make. I just love it. Right. So I have this hat. I like the colors. It matched. So I'm wearing it, and on the way out here, people are like, "Go Giants, go!" They're yelling, right? And I'm like, I don't give a hoot,
nor a holler,
about your Dodgers. Yeah. Okay, I'm a Royals man, and they're like, whatever. And literally, the guy was never right over there going, whatever, you suck. And I'm like, it's just like, go smoke a turd, man.
Dude, getting hazed at a golf tournament.
Oh, well, this place is the worst sometimes. As far as people really get comfortable with you. You're like, I don't know you. Get out of my face.
Well, athletes are used to it probably because they're used to it in games and getting hazed when they're on the road. Yeah. Actors, you don't really.
Well,
you get razzed on set.
Oh my God! Well, the thing is, everybody wants to do their best out here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying. It's not like I'm not trying, but I'm an amateur golfer. If I hit it in the water, it's very likely. Or if I chunk a shot or I screw up something, that's going to happen. And then one guy yelled the other day. I did something terrible. Don't quit your day job, Riggle. And I'm like. And then you got to turn around and smile, right? Then you got to turn around. Hey, thumbs up, Dynamite. You're the best. And I want to wring his neck. I was like, but what are you going to do?
You're smiling deep down. You're just so angry.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to now. I was going to. I was thinking about it until that shot, and you told me to. That's good advice. That's good advice. I don't know why my significant other hasn't given me that advice. But she is trying to get me to be a professional golfer. Yeah. You said that. I'm now on that track. Thank you, sir.
There you go.
You've now set me straight. Rob Riggle is our guest. Rob, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it,
it's great to see you guys. I hope to see you out there
we'll
around this week.
Yeah, we'll be walking around the course a little bit today.
And you guys always have your finger on the pulse around here. So if anything breaks, let me know.
Like windows or
people going down.
Yes,
caddy fights.
Love
it.
Dude, I do not want Jerry Rice. I already said I picked it the biggest caddy. Jerry Rice's caddy. It's also apparently his bodyguard. I was told. Do not get in a fight with him.
Yeah, but you almost hit him with a golf ball.
I almost hit Jerry Rice with a golf ball.
We went to break, and Sterling's over
here.
You
don't want to be that guy.
Well, Derek Carr shanked one over here, right? And so I have golf balls, and Stugatz had left-handed clubs. I'm lefty. And so I'm hitting him back into the range. I'm just hitting little flop shots.
You didn't even check to see if somebody was coming around the corner, and Jerry Rice was chipping, and Rice comes around the corner, the ball flies right by his face.
No, it went over his head. It was a good. It was well struck.
Had you taken him out? Had you knocked him out?
Man.
What would you have done? What would have been the
run? I would probably run into the lake, start swimming.
That would be my exact move. Run, just like an 8-year-old. Run,
find the nearest person, have them hold the golf club, and then run. Like, here, can you hold this for me? Go.
Now your fingerprints are on it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're the one. Let's just say Rice would have been able to catch the golf ball if he just saw it come. That's how close it was.
With his teeth. It would have been amazing.
He's the GOAT. He
is the GOAT.
Yeah. But I found out that Michael Pena is dealing with a back injury. So you might.
Okay, see, that's the kind of inside skinny I need.
Yeah, I was.
Because I'm going to go put some money down. I'm 2,500 to 1 to win this thing, guys. I'm going to go put $1 on myself.
Oh, you should
just in
five.
case.
Just in case.
Maybe I'll put a Finsky, a little $5 on me, just on the outside chance that there's a massive outbreak of COVID and everybody in the field goes down.
You're left. You're just in a hazmat suit by yourself. Yeah. No chances.
Exactly.
No chances.
Just have just one guy just razz every single person to get them out of their game, right?
Yeah.
Get them right out of the game.
It's like Happy Gilmore. We need that guy.
Yes.
And somehow you're allowed to hit someone with a car, and the tournament goes on.
Yeah.
So I think if you drive around and hit people and take them out, and you're left.
You never know what's going to happen.
Guys, this is a good plan. This is a really good plan.
I just want just a cut. Just a small little taste. That's it.
I have had worse ideas.
All right, boys.
Rob,
have a good one.
appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. There's Rob Riggle hanging out with us here. We are late for a break. We'll take it right now. More Zone right after this. Tahoe charities as well. So American Century, fantastic, proud Kansas City company. And one of the reasons we get to come out here as well is getting to, promote this particular tournament. And it's very cool. And we appreciate Rob Riggle stopping by. Last night was the celebrity karaoke in which we tried to... Got it. I think I got it.
You okay?
Should I try it again?
I was befuddled what was going on over
Well,
here.
I'm getting choked up just thinking about him emceeing last night and all the hard work he puts in by doing that and having to deal with some of the celebrities, and it's not easy with the work that he does. But no, it was a fun night last night seeing Travis Kelce and his performance. Certainly, I didn't know if Jason Kelce was maybe going to get up there, but he was very low key, hanging out in the back and just sort of watching the performances as they went along. But yes, it was an enjoyable night. We'll see how the guys play today. Again, ACCFantasyGolf.com. You can go there and check that out. But that'll be for tomorrow and Sunday if you have not put your team together today, because they have teed off as of 50 minutes ago is when they got round number 1 started here on this Friday out of the American Century. One of the things that we were going to talk about today, until Rob stopped by, and he just completely messed up the whole show. I mean, what are we going to do now? But no, we were going to talk about the decision by the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday to pull Paul Skeens, 99 pitches, 7 innings, no hit ball, 11 strikeouts, an incredibly dominant performance, and I think what we're watching right now is the beginning of potential, all-time greatness. It's so early on that you don't want to sort of get ahead of yourself because, and this is where we'll get into a big part of the conversation, and I think where the big part of the conversation will go, because health is a factor to this whole thing. But Paul Skeens right now, after yesterday's game, he has thrown 66 innings. He has 89 strikeouts to 13 walks. He has a 1.9 ERA, and opponents are slugging 300 off of him, and they're getting on base at 250 off of him, and his average fastball velocity is 99.1 miles per hour. His average fastball velocity. Since his debut, he's been the best pitcher in baseball. And I don't know that I can remember a time where we saw somebody make a major league debut and be this good, this dominant, this quickly to be the very best pitcher in baseball over 9 starts? 9, 10? I'm trying to think of how many starts he's had so far this year. But Nolan Ryan, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, and now Paul Skeens, the only pitchers in Major League Baseball history to have multiple games with 0 hits and 10 strikeouts in a single season. He's done it twice. He was pulled in the 6th inning with a no-hitter and pulled in the 7th inning with a no-hitter. A little different in the 6th inning than the 7th inning. By the way, Nolan Ryan did that in his 7th season. Max Scherzer did that in his 8th season. Justin Verlander did that in his 17th season. Paul Skeens did it in his first 11 career starts. I mean, honestly, we're watching something I don't think we've ever seen before. And even as Sterling people talked about, is he the best pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg? No, he's not. He's better.
Oh, I would say Steven Strasburg. I don't want to
from the first 11 starts. From what we've seen, the first 11 starts bursting onto the scene. Steven Strasburg wasn't close to this.
Steven burst onto the scene. It was. I don't want to have again just living in the moment and just be a prisoner of it because I think Paul Skeens is phenomenal. But I do remember Strasburg coming up and just the hype that surrounded his first start and. What we saw from him was very Paul Skeens-esque, which again, you want to see health. That's obviously paramount. Yep. And again, it's why the conversation of 7 innings, no hitter, and you pull him with 99 pitches, it's become a storyline. I think a little less so now than maybe even a couple of years ago. I think people understand a little more. But if you're the Pirates in particular, sitting here going, that's great and all.
Yeah.
But we're also thinking about Kerry Wood. We're thinking about Mark Pryor. We're thinking about guys that came onto the scene and maybe they ran a little hard early on in their careers and they, I don't want to say flamed out, but injuries really ended them a lot sooner than it should have been. I understand the cautious approach while also understanding from the fan perspective frustrating when you think you have a chance to witness a no-hitter and witness history. Maybe a perfect game is a little different than a no-hitter because he did hit a batter as well as walked a guy. And who knows? You always think you have another opportunity, right? You always think, well, he'll get another no-hitter at some point. That's not always the case. He might just go out again and have, another great start where he complete game one-hitter, complete game two-hitter. But I understand both sides of the equation, but I understand more so, I think, I'm on the side of caution.
Well, it's funny because I don't have the outrage that a lot of people do, and I totally understand the outrage. I do, because I understand where we are versus where we used to be, and the slow progression that it's taken to get to this point to where somebody is pulled with less than 100 pitches after 7 innings with no hits and 11 strikeouts, and it's like, yeah, I'm not really surprised. I think once that barrier was crossed of pitchers being taken out in the 7th or 8th inning with a no-hitter, once that barrier was crossed, like, 4, 5, 6 years ago, when we started to see this, then at that point it's going to become more commonplace to where some of the outrage is lost because we see it more and more. It doesn't mean that it has to be like, okay, this is the right strategy, because I think there's a difference between, yeah, I mean, he had a no-hitter, but, he's kind of laboring, and, yeah, he was pulled from the no-hitter after 7 innings, and he had 120 pitches. And at some point, you got to go, all right, do we want to go to 150 or 160? Do we really want to?
Edwin Jackson, if you remember Edwin Jackson, was it Arizona at the time? He played for, 19 teams. It's like him and Octavio Dotel have the lead, and maybe Matt Stairs. But I remember that he was going for, I think it was a no-hitter, and it was like 151, 157 pitches.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying he would have been there, but 99 through 7, he probably ends up at 15 pitches an inning if he's going good.
Yeah.
So you end up with 130 in his 11th big league start of his career. Again,
and that's also saying that that he's going to be able to get the no-hitter. So he might have given up 1 hit in the 9th inning and still ended up with 130 pitches and a 1-hitter. It's not guaranteed that he's going to throw the no-hitter, but it is a conversation of, okay, you've got a chance at greatness. You've got a chance to do this. My issue with pulling him would be, it didn't seem like he was laboring. Like, he seems like he's more of a hoss. He seems like he's more of a horse that has an easy 99.
But we said the same with Strasburg. We said the same.
Kerry
Kerry Wood and
Kerry Wood's arm was almost like disconnected from his body. The way the ball was moving, it's like that. The arm action, that thing's going to give at some point. Like, I don't know, Paul Skeens just seems like it's way more effortless for him to hit 99, 101. And he was
235 helps.
Yeah, and he was cruising. And I think there's a difference between just a pitch count versus what was going on with those 99 pitches. And those 99 pitches and a hit wasn't one. Boom, nailed it. There's the Jay-Z song for you. He wasn't in trouble. He wasn't laboring. He was cruising throughout most of that game. That's why I would have given him a chance to go out there. I think I would have been more inclined to leave him in the game. I am not outraged that they took him out. And I'm also not going to sit here and go, boy, that's the best decision you can possibly make, because they certainly have more information. But it's also about the long-term health. And we don't know how much whether it's pitch count or velocity, we don't know the exact factors that lead to arms breaking down, genetics, whatever it might be. We don't know how to keep them healthy. We also really don't know how they break down. I think they are being as cautious as they can to get the most out of them over the course of the season. But you've got a lot of money that's going to be invested in Paul Skeens, and you've got the number 1 pick in the draft. And heck, even his girlfriend said, last night at the ESPYs, she was asked about Paul Skeens being taken out of the game, and she goes, well, it would have been cool for something like that to take place, but you do have to keep the arm healthy long term. And I was like, oh, bleep. That was a very reasoned approach from his girlfriend there at the ESPYs. I know, right? She's like, yeah, you do have to keep the arm healthy long term. So,
well, the team is going to be more cautious than the player.
For sure.
The only guy.
He didn't want to come out of the game. There's zero chance he was wanting to come out of the game.
But you're going to have to be a Max Scherzer. You're going to have to pull me off of the mound. Right. But you're not doing that, especially that early on in your career. And again, the Pirates are just at the playoffs right now, correct? I mean, they're just under 500, so I'm assuming.
I don't know. They could be 10 games under 500 and in the playoffs in the NL.
Sure. My point is, it's a long season, and you're building this the right way. Don't do something stupid that jeopardizes the future.
Yeah.
It's hard. We all like to see personal records, but no hitters have been done. Perfect game, little different. No hitters we've seen a lot of. Little different.
Yeah. We need to take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Pittsburgh 2.5 games out of the wild card. And they've got right now. I mean, they've got the best pitcher in baseball since May 11th in Paul Skeens. 11 starts into his career, and we're watching something that, I mean, maybe it's splitting hairs of Strasburg versus Paul Skeens, but I know Strasburg came on strong. But I just, to me, it wasn't to this. This is an added level of even what Strasburg did at the beginning of his career. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this.
part of it. And that's everybody contributes. But when you're on stage by yourself with a microphone in your hand and all you have is the band behind you, woo.
Trophy on the mantle.
Trophy.
That's right up there.
Another little platform.
And then he wins the trophy and says, "This one's for you, Taylor."
I loved it. I mean, that was like, I want to know where he's going to put it. I mean, is he going to put it near the Super Bowl trophies?
Right.
Where is he going?
He's going to hand it to Taylor. He hands it to Taylor.
Taylor, look, I can sing too.
He sets it right next to her Grammys.
It might get lost with all of them, though. It might just get lost in the wash there.
I was going to
think
say
it's
that he needs to have it in a place where he can point to it whenever she questions his musical ability or acumen, where he can just kind of tap it in the kitchen, basically.
Yeah, so Dylan, you're talking about like when Dick Vermeil would wear a Super Bowl ring at the
There you
podium
go.
and somebody would question anything, and he
Absolutely.
just, as he was answering the question, he would tap the Super Bowl ring on the podium as in like,
Yeah.
I kind of got this ring here though. But no, it's a good point that you're bringing up that I hadn't thought of at all as a Super Bowl champion coach.
Or the other thing you do is when people ask you a question, see, I wear my Super Bowl ring on my right hand. Just run your fingers through your hair very slowly. You just sort of run it through your hair. Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not quite sure I want to answer that.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a win, not if they get married and move in together, and then they'll have that room with all the trophies, and I think
They'll have a house.
You put it right there.
Not a room.
It's a good point.
Trophy house.
Between the two of them, they would
need.
It's exactly right.
They would need a trophy
That's
house.
exactly-
It's
have a
a
trophy
mother-in-law's
house.
quarters, but it would be just
It
for the trophy house. And you would have that right in front. Like my wife is the athlete in our family, and so she's got a bunch of trophies. And in fifth grade, my fifth grade basketball team won the league, and all of her trophies are there. And then there's one small trophy right in front. Right in front. That's mine. That's
Properly placed.
Exactly.
It's most important.
Thank you.
What is the
Right.
first thing somebody's going to see?
That one.
Your little trophy.
And here's the thing. Her trophies, individual awards. Oh, female athlete of the year. Oh, back-to-back female athlete of the year. Whatever, right? I mean, come on. That's a team sport right there. I did that as a team. That's being a teammate, okay?
Your rationale really, they fly with some people, but I don't think it flies at all.
It does not. It does not fly at home at all. Joe Theismann is our guest. How you playing right now?
I'm working on. I've got a few things injury-wise I'm working through, but my left shoulder's always been an issue because I have a staple holding it together, and obviously if you're a right-handed golfer, everything starts with pulling down with your left and staying in the shot, and that's where I'm struggling a little bit. But these 3 days are just, I'm looking forward to it so much. I've got my son Patrick on the bag.
That's awesome.
And it's he's back again, so it's a ton of fun. It's the whole thing. The American Century Championship is so much more than just celebrities playing golf. For example, American Century, the investment company, gives away over 40% of their net profits to the Stour Institute for Research in Kansas City. Anybody listening out there that's in business, picture 40% of your net profits being given to charity. That's what makes this tournament special. We've raised close to $8 million for charities here in the local area. Of course, we lost the Wakefields this past year, and it's a great tribute. Our hats are, have the number on 49, and so it's more than just a golf tournament. It's a great social event. Obviously, the karaoke. Everybody points to this. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to see who's going up there. And Alfonso Romero always puts on an unbelievable show to close.
He's as talented as
he's as talented as, and he's a heck of a golfer.
Yeah.
But man alive, I mean, you sit there in awe of these people. I've always wanted to be able to sing. Oh God, did I want it? My mother and father used to make me sit in the front pew in church because they figured the only person I could insult would be the pastor. Because if I was sitting in the second row, the people that ahead of me would turn around and go, what's coming out of your mouth, man? I mean, you can't sing a hymn. So, but anyway, I always admire people with music.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun watching that last night, and the tributes last night to Tim and Stacy were phenomenal, and and he was a mainstay out here each and every year, and
played with them a number of years.
Yeah, karaoke was his night. I mean, they loved that night. Every year, you knew Wakefield was going to be up there.
Oh, for sure,
singing. So it was cool. Some of the tributes that were going on. Joe Theismann is our guest. What do you make of what the Chiefs have going on there in Kansas City right now? And back-to-back Super Bowls, they've won 3 of the last 5, and they talked immediately after the second Super Bowl of going for a three-peat. And Travis Kelce said that last year's Super Bowl he wanted more than the first one, and then he wanted more than the second one, and the next one he wants more than the third one. That seems like a foreign concept to me. But the more and more we talk to professional athletes that have won a Super Bowl, the drive grows and the hunger grows even more to win another one once you've been to that mountaintop.
Yeah, the biggest challenge is to fight complacency, because so many of us as young football players, the dream is to be able to, number one, play in a Super Bowl, but then win a Super Bowl. Well, what happens when you're at the top of the mountain? No, everybody talks about climbing the mountain to become successful, but nobody talks about what happens when you're at the top of the mountain. How do you deal with it? We've seen Tom Brady do it so well.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman. Terry Bradshaw, all parts of teams, but yet you have to have that quarterback to be able to be successful, and Patrick's the best in the game. And, the expectations for the Kansas City Chiefs should be this. It's not going to be a perfect season. It's because it never is. So you're going to have your ups and downs, and who's going to make the plays to make a difference? For example, people talk about, well, Patrick didn't have quite the year that he's had before. I disagree with that. The fact that they dropped 35 passes through the course of the season contributes to what the quarterback is doing. But at the end of the year, when it really counted, the guys that needed to step up, stepped up, and Patrick just continued to play his game. He's sort of like the anchor that holds that whole thing together. And then you look at the Super Bowl, the first half. Travis catches 1. Travis catches 1. All of a sudden, the second half, what did he catch? 8? And what happened to that offense? Certain things drive an offense. Andy Reid, to me, I'd love to see him just go in the Hall of Fame now while he's coaching. Why wait?
We saw that. We've seen that in basketball, like Bill Self, John Calipari.
I know. Coach K.
I know, but we've seen it happen. But he absolutely is that guy. I mean, he's the best in the game.
He's the glue that holds everything together. I mean, Andy has such a great way with his players. Everybody talks about a player's coach. It doesn't mean that you're soft. It doesn't mean that you let them go do whatever they want to do. What it basically means is you toe the line. And he's brought people. You look at Andy, with Michael Vick in Philadelphia, Tariq, guys that have people have questioned at times.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're unbelievable contributors. And believe me, I think the Chiefs without Tariq are a different football team, just like without Travis. I mean, there's 2 very important parts of that offense. Obviously, Patrick is a given, but, they're 2 very important parts of the offense. Now, Tariq might be sitting there going, hey, with Jefferson getting all this money and all these wide receivers getting all this money, and now I'm not at the top. I'm not telling Kansas City to pay him that money, but he's worth it. He's worth whatever you want to pay him.
Well, and you mentioned that combination of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Like, there are some marriages, and then there are some that are just soulmates.
I felt that way with Joe Gibbs.
Really? Okay.
The relationship that we had. I mean, the thing about a play caller. as a quarterback, you have to understand not what they're calling, but why. When I was in broadcasting, I developed a what-why philosophy. Your eyes will tell you as you watch television in any sport what's happening. The announcer's job, the analyst's job, is to tell you why it happened. So from a quarterback coach perspective, coordinator perspective, I know what the play is going to be. But why did you call this on 2nd and 8?
Yeah.
Why did you call this on 3rd and 6? Oh, if we get 5, are we going to go through it on 4th and 1? Those are the conversations that people aren't really privy to, and it's very difficult for people to understand. But it's the what and the why that makes such a world of difference.
Yeah, and it seems like he sort of just gets it. He understands the what and he understands the why.
He knows Patrick, and Patrick knows Andy.
Absolutely. And you mentioned sort of like having that guy that can take you over the edge and, winning Super Bowls, et cetera. It is a team game, certainly. The quarterback is vital and so important. We've seen that. In the Super Bowl against the Bucs, they were out of it, and whether it's the offensive line or other things that went on in that game. But in the 3 Super Bowl wins for the Chiefs, after the third quarter in those 3 Super Bowl wins, the Chiefs have had 9 offensive drives. They've scored 6 touchdowns and 3 field goals in the fourth quarter.
I mean, it's adjustments.
Yeah.
Joe, that's another thing. Joe was, I would say, like Andy in that regard, the ability to be able to adjust at halftime. And the Super Bowl they lost against Tampa, let's not forget that Patrick wasn't 100%.
Yeah, it's true. He had the turf toe.
I mean, it affects you. Mm-hmm. It affects you a lot. And he's not going to come out. But it's still, he wasn't able to be himself. And it's just like me with my golf swing. If you've got something bothering you, so I tend to hit the ball a lot with my right hand. That's why I don't hit it so high, because I'm afraid to go do something with my left. And so if you're injured as a quarterback, if you got a tweaked toe or a foot or a knee or something, or the shoulder's bothering you a little bit, you're just that little tiny bit off, and that's all it takes in our game. The margin of error and the difference in the game is so small with the players that we have, the athletes that play this game. If you've got somebody nicked up, it's going to affect them. And I think in Patrick, to me, I thought their defense played great football.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Kansas City has managed to really put together a great balance, offense and defense. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd have 4. Would have had 4 if Pat was healthy.
How much do?
Well, I just thought you had a really interesting conversation today, and I want to get your thoughts on this because some guys think the preseason's really important, some don't. I know you had some comments saying you don't think Jaden Daniels should play in the preseason. What goes into that thought process there?
The fact of the matter is, first of all, you draft him as number 1. We don't have a quarterback in Washington. He's going to be the quarterback. You put him out in a preseason game and he gets hurt. What kind of flack do you think Dan Quinn's going to get? And Adam Pearson. They will attack the organization like it's never been attacked before. But on the other side of it, he has no game experience at the professional level. So I'm saying he'll go out on the field. I think the first 2 preseason games are on the road for Washington. You'll go out, play a quarter, hand off a little bit, run a little play action, get the ball out of your hand, go sit down. The problem with preseason being cut back from 3 to 2 is how is a coach going to be able to evaluate players, free agents, rookies, newcomers? You can't evaluate guys in shorts and T-shirts because you don't know their heart. Why do you mark my words, first 2-3 games of the season, watch how many balls are fumbled because running backs are going to get hit and the ball's coming out because they're not used to it. Now they want to go to 18 games. If I was the Players Association, I would say, I know you want to charge a lot of money. I know the NFL is going to continue to make eons of dollars of money, but what kind of product are we going to put on the field? 65 quarterbacks played last year, guys. Now you go to 18 games. I think it's you take away the preseason games. So to me, the first 2 regular season games of the season are glorified preseason games. If you've got somebody going down to Miami and play, Washington goes to Tampa and play, it's going to be 95, 100 degrees, huge humidity. How are you going to keep your players on? You can't get conditioned to play and get hit and push people around unless you really can do it. And we have such a limited time in training camp today. I think there's like 17 days of training camp. I used to go to camp on the 4th of July. We had 6 preseason games.
Yeah.
Now I don't think you should get rid of them completely. I think I think you put the players at risk, to be perfectly honest with you. I think, to me, it becomes a health issue.
Well, and the preseason thing and training camp is really fascinating from the Chiefs' standpoint because Andy Reid is considered more old school with his training camp. Like anytime there's a free agent that comes in, the first thing they talk about is, Yeah, I haven't had a training camp like this. Like this is different. The pace, how quickly, the reps they get in, everything is structured and specific, and Andy Reid knows what he wants. And I think it's one of the reasons why the Chiefs under Andy Reid have gotten off to great starts all the time. With Patrick Mahomes, I think it was year 4 before he lost his first game in September. And I think
you can do that with a veteran quarterback.
Yeah,
you can do that with a veteran team because they'll keep the pace play moving along, in and out of the huddle, in and out of the huddle, in and out of the huddle.
Yeah,
And they throw a ton at you. You can't be stupid and play our game. I mean, the installation meetings are like you're getting 10, 12 plays a day. You're getting 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon.
I saw Chase Daniel do a breakdown on YouTube of a one-play install. One-play install. And
how long did it take?
It was about 7 minutes.
Yeah.
With all of the different, well, if the safety comes down here, then this guy's going to go there. This is what your read is on this one. But if they switch out to a cover 2, then this is what you're going to be looking here. And it was just like, that's one play.
And then you put your modifications of the formations.
Yeah.
Same play, different formations, you'll get a different look.
Yeah.
Go through the same scenario again.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you could spend an hour on one play.
Yeah.
In installations on the NFL just for people to
It's
understand.
unbelievable.
But you don't have that.
Yeah,
I'm not smart enough for that.
And seeing like quarterbacks, it's like, well, he's learning a new offense. Well, he's going to learn a new offense. My goodness, like that was one play, and that's where to me, that's where like people think of genius and brilliance, and they sort of think of whether it be book smarts or business smarts. I mean, there's a genius in football.
It's interesting too from a learning standpoint.
Yeah.
Some people learn differently.
Yeah.
Like for example, some guys, if you put a play up on the board, they visually understand it. If you put it in a playbook to them, they really have a difficult time comprehending it. So one of the key things for coaches is what's the comprehension level of the players that I have? Are they visual learners or are they book learners? And then you have to sort of modify your teaching process accordingly.
Yeah. And you got to hope that they are learners as well.
I'd love to spend hours.
I know you got to go.
Listen, lots of luck to everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here again. Thanks for the support of the American Century Championship. And like I said, for us, it's a labor of love. This is my 34th of the 35 years, and it's an honor to be invited back. And it's a pleasure to see you guys again. And who knows, next year we may be talking about lots of same stuff.
Yeah. Joe, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it. There's Joe Theismann. He's got a tea time here in just a little bit, and we certainly appreciate him stopping by. And again, 34 out of 35 years. It is the 1 year he didn't participate, and I've asked him the story before, and I'm clearly not a good person because I didn't remember what the one time he missed, but because I do wonder what it feels like for Joe Theismann specifically when Jack Wagner and Jim McMahon have played in all 35. And every time they talk about them, all 35 tournaments, Jack Wagner and Jim McMahon, they've played in every single tournament, Jim McMahon and Jack Wagner. And Joe Theismann's like, I miss one.
You miss
and
one.
I can't even get a reference. Like,
okay, we have a 34-plus winners.
Yes.
34-plus time players.
Yeah, like you're going to have at your wedding. If you've been married for, less than 10 years, please leave the dance floor. If you've been married for 15 years or longer.
Is that a thing, Jason? I don't.
You've never been to weddings?
I've been to many a wedding. I've never.
You're not going to do the how long people have been married dance? And then at the end, there's one couple dancing there that has been married the longest out of all the people in attendance at the wedding?
I have never heard that before.
Oh, cool. It's pretty neat,
Yeah, it's fun.
Am I just going to younger
it's,
weddings?
No,
I
it's
guess,
not.
or?
It's not at every wedding.
Yeah.
But it's probably about 60-70% of weddings. See, here's the thing, Sterling. I've already been through all of my friends' weddings, my wife's friends' weddings, so I've seen them all. I've been there, done that. Got the receipt. So,
I for the first time learned that there's a thing called what's it? You pay $1, like the dollar dance.
Oh, you just learned there's a dollar dance?
Yeah, I've been to many weddings. I've only seen it one time.
Well, it's inflation. It should be the $5 dance.
And it was a wedding I've never I didn't know the people at.
Yeah.
Like it was my fiance's friends.
Yeah.
And so I went and I said we were trying to play a game of. I go up to them. They have no idea who I am, and I just started. Hey, nice wedding. Who do you know here?
Yeah. The awkwardness of the dollar dance is how long do you dance with that person?
Good call.
Because they want to get more people in there to raise more money for their whatever honeymoon or just simply donating to the newly married couple. But it's like, all right, here's my dollar, sometimes 5, 10, 20, whatever you want to give. And then it's like, all right, we've been dancing for like 10 seconds or whatever. All right, well, thanks, see ya, bye.
Well,
cool.
I paid money. I want to get my money's worth.
I'm getting my dollar's worth.
I'm getting my dollar's worth.
It's not a 2-for-1 dance, okay? It's not Bonita Flats. All right? You're not just...
Bazookas.
No. I don't know. Are you the bride is like, okay, well, Sterling, it was so good to see you. Yeah, I know. So what are you guys doing?
Yeah. What are you doing later?
Listen, Sterling. Okay, we got other people. Like, no. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but I paid my $1. All right, I'm. This is $1 dance. Oh, this song is not over yet.
And
I got a full
do I get to
song.
pick my song? Freebird.
Stairway to Heaven.
Freebird.
Do I go before the
2112.
father or
Rush.
after the father? Which dance happens first here?
With the father. No, you know what? I want a dollar dance with the father.
Yeah, dollar dance with the groom and have fun, man. You know,
Teach us
donate
out.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, I dollar dance with whoever I'm there supporting. Like if
Yeah.
it's my buddy, well,
Is
then I
that
dollar
why
dance with him.
you came with so many ones, Jason?
That's right. Dollar
Okay.
dance in here. It was just for the dollar dance here.
Just for the dollar
I was
dance.
crashing all the Tahoe weddings. That's
You're
what I was doing.
You're like, well, you was actually up with the celebrities and like, hey, Jason Kelsey, dollar dance?
Yeah.
You in?
You wanna-
During karaoke last night, I think.
Dollar dance?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
I did think what Joe Theismann asked, that's why I really wanted to talk to him about that. I thought it was so fascinating in regards to the preseason. Because I thought he was going to be more old school, right? You know, older
Yeah.
player. I thought he was going to be more like, no, you got to get the young guy out there, give him a lot of reps. And he was more along the lines of, hey, you invested so much draft capital in this guy. You're hoping he can turn the franchise around. You can't afford to have him get injured in a meaningless game. I didn't know your thoughts on that, but he went against what I thought traditionally an older school player mentality was going to have.
Yeah. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling as we are hanging out at the American Century Championship in Lake Tahoe. It is presented by Greenlight Dispensary. Thank you to Rob Riggle. Thank you to Joe Theismann stopping by. I believe we'll get a chance to talk with David Wells before he goes out for his tea time today. We continue with more Zone right after this.
All right, folks, as I said, they're giving away green light strains for gold and platinum eighths for 25% off all week at Greenlight Dispensary to celebrate July's Flower Frenzy specials. And they're going to change it up every single week, while they also have deals on other items as well every single day. You can learn more and check them out online at greenlightdispensary.com all month long, because they're going to be doing the Flower Frenzy for you. And they're going to be adding new vendors as well, so you have more options to choose from every single week. And they also have the #1 loyalty program in the state of Missouri, because it adds points to your account for every single purchase that you make, and then you can use those points as cash when you check out at Greenlight Dispensary. It seems like every time I check out at Greenlight Dispensary, I have a $10 off waiting for me because of the points that I've racked up. So when you go online, check out their top shelf eighths for $25 this July, and then add them to your order, and you can select whether you want to pick it up through the drive-thru or the grab-and-go window to save time. You can go to any of their 4 Casey area locations. They have one at Bannister Road and 435, another at Nolan Road and Independence. 135th and State Line is the store that I use, and then they have one in Harrisonville as well. But first, go online to greenlightdispensary.com and place your order, and then go to one of those Casey area locations and check out the Flower Frenzy specials. They're going to be going on all month on their top shelf eighths. Again, that's at greenlightdispensary.com. That's greenlightdispensary.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We head up until 2 o'clock. We will talk with David Wells at some point in the show before he goes off with his round today. And a little beer pong / baseball drinking game with Sterling the other night. Apparently has set up the David Wells interview. So that'll come up later on this afternoon. Hopefully. I mean, unless I don't know. Maybe he's as hungover today as he was before his perfect game back in '98. Let's talk some football with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest, and 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
I am great. I would imagine that Sterling playing beer pong with David Wells is as on brand as people stealing your online content. So
I mean, unbelievable, man.
You guys are having a week.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Sterling is over at the tent looking for a couple of people to see if they're going to be able to stop by today. People that we've talked to before, but on Wednesday night, Sterling played a little beer pong / baseball, whatever that game is, drinking game, and he was on the team with David Wells and Miles Teller, and they were playing against T.J. Oshie, and the Miz was also on his team. So. That collection of people, David Wells, Miles Teller, The Miz, T.J. Oshie, Sterling Holmes.
This is like the guy who lived across the hall from me in college that caught Mark McGuire's 70th home run ball and also had Sheryl Crow stop by his dorm room. I mean, Sterling just lives a life that I can't imagine.
Dude, we walked out of that high limit room that we have access to with American Century. They give us these wristbands that all the celebrities have, so we get into all these different things, which is pretty awesome. So we walk out of there, and Sterling goes, "Now you see when I'm telling you how farcical my life is." I said, "I love that you acknowledge how ridiculous it is that you find yourselves in these situations, just somehow." Doing that, that's it's completely and totally farcical. And let me tell you, he has been living off that game from Wednesday night the entire time. Yesterday around the golf course, "Hey man, what's up? Hey, you feeling good? Miz, are you alive today, man?" Last night at celebrity karaoke, "Hey dude, you gonna head back to the room, man? We're gonna play." Oh my God, Sterling, you played 3 games, and all of a sudden you're like the life of the party, and everybody's like, "Hey, nice mustache." I'm like, all right. He's been called Miles Teller a couple times. Like, is that Miles Teller? No,
he does
it's
look
not.
like a low-budget Miles Teller impersonator, so he does have that going for him.
Go ahead and mark that, Dylan, and I want to use that for a long time.
So I have marked
low-budget Miles
that
Teller.
one, and then who was it yesterday that said Macklemore and?
It was Ken Swanson.
There you go. Yep. So those will get actually mashed up.
Yep, he said he looks like Miles Teller. If Miles Teller and Macklemore were a combination, it would be Sterling. He got a free beer on the plane right here because the stewardess said that he was putting off pilot vibes. So she didn't charge him for the beer. Like, what in the hell?
Once again, only Sterling can pull this off.
You know, now that I kind of think about that, maybe that just shows the state of airline travel nowadays, that she thought Sterling was pilot material.
Boy, that does really make you think twice.
Kind of makes you think twice about, exactly, Matt.
Is he working for Boeing? Like, I don't know. It just depends, I guess.
Careful, Jason. Careful.
I don't know. Well, that's a good point. I am not. Listen, Boeing, I am not a whistleblower.
I was going to say, you're in a wide open area.
I am not a whistleblower. I am not. I have no inside information whatsoever. I am not blowing the whistle on Boeing. I am not going to testify. I don't know any of that stuff. I have a family. I love my family very much. And I hope to live a long life ahead of me. Boeing, it was simply a joke, tongue-in-cheek. I meant nothing by it, except for everything you guys have going on. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest, 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, I thought it was an interesting story that you wrote at Chiefs Digest about Alan Wright. And this is his 41st training camp as the equipment manager, or at least as part of the Chiefs in equipment. That's unbelievable.
Technically, 42nd training camp because there was the COVID camp that they didn't go away for. So it's his 41st taking the team on the road. But yeah, he started as an equipment manager with the team when he was 18 back in 1983, and now obviously runs the show. So he has seen a lot over the years. Absolutely.
That's unbelievable. That's crazy. Like 18 years old, and he's working with the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know, I always wonder, like something like that. Like the question you asked was perfect. Like, is this a great day? Is this the best day? Is it a bad day because, or a tough day because of everything and all of the planning to go into 90 players? You know, that are going up to training camp to start off with. You know, is this good, bad? Like, is that day their Super Bowl? Right? Is that the biggest day of the year that you do all this planning for? And I cannot imagine being the equipment manager with everything that goes into that and all of the technology that it takes now to be able to run an NFL franchise and the players and all of the different equipment that they are using today as opposed in years past where you've got the monitors, you've got the cushy helmet topper. That's what I call it, cushy helmet topper that they're using these days. Like, it's so different now in trying to move a training camp. And I don't know, Matt, one of the things I was going to talk to you about is I wonder, is that a little bit a part of why teams have just said, we're not going away for training camp because we have everything here. And with all of the stuff now that we are monitoring players and practicing and getting as much out of these practices as we can, everything is right here that we have set up in structure.
Yeah, and to your point, it made me think about this while we're talking about it. I mean, talk about just the changes. Alan was talking about when he first started. I mean, he was a member of the equipment department, and there was only like 3 of them. There was like the equipment manager, 2, Alan, and another guy. And now, he's got a team of 7, and none of them are 18 years old. I mean, these are people who have been pros for a long time, who worked their way up to the equipment managers in the NFL, and then they've got 10 interns for training camp alone. And that's not even talking like ball boys and ball girls and everything. I mean, their 10 interns are usually some college kids that have some equipment manager experience too and everything. So it's just ridiculous how it has changed and everything. And yeah, I mean, the Guardians caps are obviously a big one.
Is that what they're called? They're not the cushy helmet toppers?
They're technically not the cushy helmet toppers.
Okay.
Guardian cap is the technical term. But, I even saw, one of the crates that goes by, one of the giant bins, I'm sure there was some stuff underneath it, but on the top was just, a few hundred chin straps for helmets. I mean, think about how many of those that they must go through. But, yeah, I mean, Alan's point was that, especially back in the day, and certainly when they went to Wisconsin, the rule was can't forget anything. I mean, take everything because, you can't go get it somewhere else, especially in River Falls. So a little bit easier when they were training at William Jewell and even St. Joe. I mean, if there's something that they need, they can head back. There's some stuff they can probably even buy in St. Joe. I mean, it's a little bit easier. You get things shipped to St. Joe's a lot easier. But, yeah, I mean, you just think about it from that standpoint. And, he said that told us, I think, that they took 2 53-foot trucks to William Jewell in his first camp, and this year they're taking 11. I mean, it's just ridiculous what it takes to take this team on the road. And I asked him, too, about that road trip because, remember, they go to Jacksonville in the middle of training camp for a preseason game. And he's like, yeah, that's the worst road trip of the year because, you got 91 players that you're equipping to get ready to play. It's not the 48 that you got to get ready on game day in the regular season. And on top of that, you're heading out of town from St. Joe. So, you're not in your own place. So, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous what the equipment managers and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that have some amazing jobs that you just don't think about, especially as far as how much work that goes into it to get this team going.
Yeah, it's funny when you mentioned that he was like one of 3 people, when he was 18 years old at the first, trip to William Jewell to be equipment manager and everything. And it reminds me of Charlie Wilson's War with Tom Hanks and Philip Seymour Hoffman when they were talking about the strategy in Afghanistan. Is like something along the lines. Tom Hanks was like, "You're telling me the U.S. strategy is just to keep walking into bullets until the Russians run out of gunfire?" And Philip Seymour Hoffman was like, "Well, that's not the U.S. strategy, but that is their strategy." And he goes, "Well, we don't have a strategy." He's like, "Well, we're working on one. Who's we?" Me and another guy. Philip Seymour. It's a great line by Philip Seymour Hoffman. Tom Hanks like, "Who's we?" me and another guy are working on the strategy in Afghanistan. Who's we? Me and two other guys are taking all this stuff up there to a training camp in William Jewell, and then of course up there in River Falls, Wisconsin, and now into St. Joe, and we'll see what the future is ultimately. Matt Derrick, ChiefsDigest.com, 41 is the Mike podcast. One of the things that certainly we'll be watching this year as opposed to last year, and I talked yesterday about Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and he was on the Herd, and he had mentioned like two monumental things that happened to him last year that stick out, and one of them he talked about catching a touchdown in the Super Bowl, right? Like that's a childhood dream to catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and then he said, the drop against Philadelphia. Like those were the things that stuck out in his mind, which is just certainly a great encapsulation of last year and maybe the entire career of MVS in Kansas City in those 2 years. But I preface the question with that in, Bill Barnwell last year had his offensive weapons in the NFL rankings, and he had the Chiefs at number 19 going into the season last year. And as it turned out, they were worse than number 19. This year, he has them at number 14. So improved from last year. And I'll just, without, sort of going through and analyzing and studying the way that Bill Barnwell did to rank these, and his entire piece of the last couple of weeks is coming up with this ranking. Is that around where you think they probably are in terms of weaponry in the NFL with the wide receivers, with the unknown of Rashee Rice that he wrote there? But, whether it's an unknown or not, he's still part of the weaponry. That they're sort of right around middle of the pack, maybe just ahead of middle of the pack in the weapons that they have this year?
I mean, when you think about it from just a consistency standpoint of last year and what they've done to improve their weapons, I mean, I think you have to say, they're better than they were. So a preseason ranking of 19, I mean, I'd buy moving up a few spots. And even though you say, hey, they were worse during the regular season than maybe 19, I mean, how low can you put a group of weapons that has Travis Kelce in it? I mean, you probably have Travis Kelce and 8 guys off the street, and I'd probably say that group is at least still 23. I mean, Kelce alone makes a big difference.
Well, Todd Haley said he can get 53 guys off the street and win 2 games.
I mean, maybe with 51 guys off the street. I mean, if you have Mahomes and Kelce, that's a pretty good start. Maybe
it's a good start. It's true.
But Todd did not have Patrick Mahomes, so I don't know how he. Yeah. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Maybe he was thinking, if I had 53 guys off the street and I could find Tom Brady on the street, if
I had this kid in junior high or elementary school, this Patrick Mahomes kid, if I had him, I can see the future already. Although he said he would take 53 Lance Longs too, so
But when I've been talking about the Chiefs, they might keep as many as 6 or 7 receivers again this year, and that bothers some Chiefs fans, and some of the feedback I'm getting is, hey, wait a minute, they kept 7 receivers last year, and it turns out they didn't have any receivers. So if they keep 7 again this year, isn't that the same thing? And it's no, because here's the best example to me, and this is not a knock on these guys, but right now, Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore are on the bubble of this roster. A year ago at this time, they weren't on the bubble. They were clearly on the roster. I mean, there were some people talking about Kadarius Toney maybe being the number 1, if not just at least the number 2 receiver on this team. And that's not the case this year. I mean, both those guys are fighting for jobs. So the fact that your depth has improved to that point, and that you've essentially put 2 former first-round picks, one this year and Hollywood a past first-round pick, onto this roster, speaks to the fact that it is deeper and better. And we'll see if it all comes together and if it gels. But I mean, this group is better than it was a year ago at this time.
Visiting with Matt Derrick, what or maybe who? It could be a what, it could be a who. Do you think is the biggest wild card for the fluctuation of where they may or may be when this season is said and done? If they're middle of the pack, if they're better or they're worse, if it's less than what we expect it to be. Like, I don't think anybody thought that the weaponry last year was going to be nearly as bad as it was. In fact, there was an excitement level of the different players that they had and what that receiver group would look like. Certainly didn't think it would bottom out the way that it did. But what or who do you think would be the biggest fluctuation wild card of this whole thing to be better or worse?
Yeah, for me, it's hard to separate three X factors because I think that this receiver group, if it's going to meet its potential, it's going to be because it's a group effort. It's not just one player. And you might have said that in the past that hey, if this receiver group is going to live up to its potential, I mean, it's all about whether or not Tyreek Hill is healthy and he plays a full season. And that's going to be it. This year, they've got talent, and this might be the most talented group of receivers on paper that this team has had in a while. Maybe Patrick Mahomes has ever had. But it's a question, one X factor is how quickly does Hollywood Brown acclimate himself into this offense, get on the same page with Mahomes, that they're operating at peak efficiency. I mean, obviously he's got to stay healthy too, so that's why, he's an X factor for a lot of different reasons. Got to stay healthy, needs to get on the same page with Mahomes. X factor number 2, I think, in importance, I think, is Xavier Worthy. I mean, he's also going to do the same thing. He needs to be available for Mahomes, and he needs to provide a deep ball threat. If he can stretch the field, that's going to make a lot of other people's lives easier, including Travis Kelce, including the tight ends. So, him being available, which is health, and him, picking up the offense and getting on the page with Mahomes doesn't have to be an every down receiver. I mean, to me, if you get 40% of the snaps this season out of Xavier Worthy, that's enough for him to be a force, and not really that far off from what Tyreek Hill played as a rookie. I mean, that's why, once again, that's kind of my feeling. Anything above Tyreek Hill as a rookie for Xavier Worthy is bonus. I mean, I'm not expecting him to do that. It's just like the ceiling. I think it's the floor. You have to have lower expectations for the floor. But hey, if he can play all 17 games, be a consistent, available threat downfield, that's going to answer a lot of problems for this team. And X Factor 3 is Rashee Rice. He's got to develop. He's got to take a step forward. He's got to be better than he was last year. I mean, he was good last year. He was available. He was all those things. But, you can't be stagnant in this league. You got to get better. So he's got to add a few new things. And I will say, I mean, from what we saw in OTAs, I will say this, and I'll say it again, and, until we see what happens when the pads come on. When Hollywood and Rashee are different players out there. You see them on the practice field, and they have a different skill set. They have a different speed. They have a different mode, everything. You can just see they are in a different category by themselves of everybody else. We haven't seen enough of Xavier Worthy. We saw him really only during the rookie minicamp, and he had one bad day and 2 good days. So let's see what happens when Xavier Worthy is out there, but maybe he's in that category too as far as just speed and confidence and ability and knowledge. But right now, I mean, it's easy to see that, the Chiefs have Rice, who looked the part last year and looks really good this year, and now you see Hollywood is in that same ballpark too. Now they got 2 of those guys instead of 1.
Yeah. Visiting with Matt Derrick, our coverage out here at the American Century Championship is presented by Greenlight Dispensary. Our conversation with Matt Derrick is presented and brought to you by Cap One Lending. We will take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. And something I noticed here in Lake Tahoe that I want to get Matt Derrick's thoughts on, in just a general question that might be an easy answer, but I thought it was fascinating. But there was a group of us yesterday that were kind of discussing if this is true. I'll tell you what that is on the other side of the break. More Zone, hanging out with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. More next. On Wednesday, when he got here and he was on the driving range, he was by himself, all good, no big deal. Yesterday, he had security around him because everywhere he was going, he was getting mobbed. And so we ask a simple question. Is he the most popular NFL center in the history of the game?
No, I mean, I can't imagine.
I couldn't even think of one. Like Jeff Saturday is one because of the Peyton Manning Jeff Saturday conversation, right? That we'd always have. That's the only other one that I'm sort of could think of. But like he's a center in the NFL, and he has security around him here because he's being mobbed by people that want to be around him and take pictures and autographs.
I mean, take your pick of the best, most famous center in NFL history. I mean, and probably, I mean, I would guess the best known might be Mike Webster, and even that's going to be a little bit just because of his life and everything and how things unfolded for him. But no, I mean, there's probably Jason Kelsey's probably the only NFL center that a non-football fan in this country could name. They might not know that he's a center. They might not know the terminology, but they know Jason Kelsey. Not everybody. I mean, he's not universal. There's some people, believe it or not, there's some people on this planet in this country who've never heard of Jason Kelsey.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely absurd, and I don't trust those people to do anything. I can't give them responsibility in this world if they know who that is. I think it could almost be like, is he the most popular offensive lineman? I mean, trying to think of other like really popular, lovable offensive linemen. Like Andrew Whitworth is out here, and after his ESPY speech, a couple of years ago, it's like, wow, that seems like one of the best dudes in the world. But like in terms of popularity and love and people screaming and yelling for him to come over to take pictures with him and get the autographs and the mob scene of him, like if he would have signed everybody's autograph yesterday, Matt, he would have been there for 2 hours. But eventually the security had to go like, sorry guys, we can't do it anymore. Like he's got to be over here. He's got to go on ESPN. He's got this other thing there. He would have been here for 2 hours signing autographs. Like celebrities are walking by while everybody is mobbed around Jason Kelsey.
I mean, even if we narrowed it to say the last 25 years, this century, who's the most famous offensive lineman? I mean, who's number 2 behind Jason Kelsey? I mean, honestly, I mean. And if you're talking about it from a Q rating, I mean, Michael Orr might be it because I can see that he might be known by a lot of non-football fans, but even then they might not remember his name. They might just remember that he's blindside.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I'm like, who else? I mean, there's no other left tackles that. There's no left tackles, nothing like that, no guards.
Trent Williams. I think Trent Williams is a pretty.
But like among football fans, they know that. But like in terms of popularity in the country, of just in terms of people that would know him, like Trent Williams is out here. Like 49ers fans might be doing that, but it was everybody. All fan bases are like, you see him and you know exactly who he is.
You know what's crazy? I mean, if you walked out with Alex Rodriguez, Albert Pujols, and Jason Kelsey. The 1,200 home runs are secondary.
Yes.
And the center in football is the primary.
We witnessed it. I mean, Pujols and A-Rod are walking around, and Jason Kelsey, it was a comet. Like, he was the comet, and everybody else was the tail. It was unbelievable.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, as ridiculous as the craze amongst the Kelseys is right now, you could have George Clooney out there at Tahoe. and Jason Kelsey would still be the star.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you keep George Clooney away from the casinos, I think people would be fine. But yeah, it was just a fascinating phenomenon to watch yesterday, because again, when he got here and was warming up on the range and walking around, there weren't many people here. Yesterday is when the fans really start to show up, and he signed a few autographs and went on his way. And then yesterday, security around him after his round. It was just it's crazy to see that happening with an offensive lineman. Like every offensive lineman around the league is like, hell yeah, go get him, Jason.
Oh yeah,
go hold the mantle for us, man. We're people too. All right, we have feelings. Just if we're tickled. Do we not laugh when we're pricked and bleed? Do we not have blood like every other? Yes, we are. Do we act like anybody else? We are a people too. We're a big part of this game. Thank you, Jason. Go shine that light on the offensive lineman.
There's no offensive lineman, especially a center. There's no one that's jealous or anything like that of Jason Kelsey. The only thing that they might be mildly annoyed with him about is that he didn't play one more year just to keep that average salary percentage going up.
That's probably right. Stugotz is out here, and Stugotz keeps joking around with Jason Kelsey. Is like, God, how pissed is Creed Humphrey? Like, what do you got to do if you're Creed Humphrey? Like, you play with Travis Kelsey. You're Patrick Mahomes' center. You're one of, if not the best centers in the league, and nobody cares about you. All they care about is Jason Kelsey. Come on, like, Creed Humphrey. Like, how about we give Creed Humphrey a little love and stop talking about Jason Kelsey all the time? How pissed off does Creed have to be? And Stu got his friend with Jason Kelsey. So every time he sees Kelsey, he walks by, he goes, what do you think Creed's doing right now? Jason just keeps laughing. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's jealousy, but hey, maybe there's a higher Q rating there for those guys. That they are people too. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk with Matt Derrick about the 18-game schedule. What Joe Burrow thinks would be a decent format for that. More Zone next.
more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, hanging out here at the American Century Championship, our coverage presented by Greenlight Dispensary. Hey, if you want to see Travis Kelce teeing off today to start his round on a Friday, you can go to Sterling Holmes' Twitter account, HomestretchKC, or you can go to the douchebag Travis Kelce fan Twitter account, who just ripped Sterling Holmes' video and pawned it off as if it was his own. That's the 8th video this tool bag has taken that we have videoed here and has given zero credit to any of us there. So I would say go to Sterling Holmes' Twitter account to see Travis Kelce teeing off. Well, you know what? I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But I will slay that person with my words. I have no idea. But I'm just assuming that that particular person is just following the 810 account. And our accounts and just finding them.
Just ripping them.
Yeah, so that's, I think it's a total of 8 videos now that have been ripped from us.
I will say, though, a little behind-the-scenes thing here.
Yeah.
The pairing was The Miz, Jason Kelce, and Travis,
Oh,
right?
it's amazing.
It's an amazing
That
pairing.
is, if you're going to follow a group today,
Yeah.
that's the group. That group is going to be partying because the Miz parties. Travis is going to be tanked by the 18th hole.
Guaranteed.
And I've never seen Jason in the tournament. This is his first one, so I am curious to see how he, interacts. But again, we just talked about he's the most famous center, maybe offensive lineman in the history of the game. He is a comet. I don't know if there's any other group that's going to have people following them where I think the Miz, Jason Kelce, and Travis Kelce is going to be the group.
I just thought it was shocking that Jason Kelce led off. Hit a nice drive.
Right.
Travis up second. Iron off the tee.
Whoa!
Wow. Travis may have grown in his old age, his golf game. Is he
trying to win?
That's the most mature move on a short par 4 I've ever seen.
Here's what
Jason, driver. Miz, driver. Travis Kelce, I'm going to hit an iron, put it right in the middle of the fairway.
Matt Derrick, Cap One Lending. Matt is, and we'll find out as the round goes along if he's taking shots and doing the beer bongs like he did last year, or shotgunning beers, or challenging people to a chugging contest, or people challenging him and him accepting the challenge. That was last year's Friday round, which is why the 18th hole, the video that I had, that was before the Travis Kelce fan page Twitter account was there, that you could probably go to that Twitter account and find it, or you could just look at my Twitter account from last year when he was when Raiders fans were talking crap to him, and he was a little toasted and said, what's funny is this is the only thing that Raiders fans can talk trash to me about. If depending on how he's enjoying the round, Matt will let us know if he's actually trying to win this thing, like trying to perform. Because iron off the tee lets me know that he may be a little more serious today about his round and not just partying with Patrick Mahomes last year.
Yeah, that iron just spoke volumes.
We'll see, Matt. I don't know.
Yeah, that's some course management right there. Yeah. And maybe trying to settle nerves. I mean, how was the driver on the driving range? Was he spraying it a little bit? Was he a little nervous? I don't know.
Great question.
That shows some maturity right there. I mean, although, hey, short par 4, I mean, could he have reasonably driven it, though? I mean...
No, it was a dog leg right. Little dog leg. There was no...
That's definitely some course knowledge then. That's definitely some experience to play.
We also have news, though, that people will find out eventually. Tim Brown has aced hole 12. So we have a hole-in-one today. So Tim Brown, he is now the 6th player all time to hit hole-in-one. And back-to-back years now. Steph Curry aced number 7. Tim Brown aces number 12. It was the only par 3 that hadn't been aced yet. Number 5 was aced by Rudy Gatlin in 95, and then Dan Jansen in 99.
Wow.
Marshall Falk aced hole number 17 in 2009. Joe Sakic in 2011 aced number 17. He won $1 million. That was the $1 million giveaway day if you hit a hole-in-one.
I think 17's that. I think
it's 17. Yep, yeah. He aced hole number 17. Last year, Steph Curry aced hole number 7, and this year, number 12 for Tim Brown. So now all 4 of the par 3s have had a hole-in-one. And now back-to-back years with a hole-in-one. How about that? So we'll see if Jason Kelce can match, or Travis Kelce, or The Miz. if they can match the holes in one. Matt Derrick is our guest. When we talk with him, it's presented by Cap One Lending. All right, Matt, 18 game schedule. It is imminent. You know, Joe Theismann was talking about, we had him on earlier. He was talking about them going to 18 games and whether there's no preseason games or not, and almost viewing the first couple of weeks of the season as de facto preseason, sort of ramping up periods. It's going to happen. How soon do you think it's going to happen? Are we 18 games in 2025, potentially?
I mean, potentially, sure. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, the NFL can make a decision for money on a dime, just like anything. So nothing's going to surprise me. But I can say the only people that were smiling about Joe Burrow's comments were 32 NFL owners, because it's talk like that once again is why the players, every time that something like this comes up, there's a negotiation piece, there's something that the owners want, they eventually get it to the point where the players just absolutely give it away. And, you know, this is the same thing. I mean, Joe Burrow was talking about, like, if you took the Joe Burrow proposal, owners would say, sure, yeah, let's do that. We'll give you 18 games. We're not going to give you any more money. We're going to give you the 18th game. We're going to continue. We might find somebody else to, you know, we might put the 18th game on True TV or something. We'll find another NFL partner for this stuff. We'll make more money. We're not going to give you any more of the pie.
Yeah, because we're giving you a second bye week like you wanted. So there we go. You get a second bye week.
Great. We could we're going to put the Pro Bowl game on, and you guys are going to go play that and give us basically a 19th week. Sure, let's do that. Yeah, we accept your proposal.
Yeah.
And
these are our concessions.
The players are like, well, wait a minute, we want some of the pie. Well, Joe didn't say that, so no pie for you.
No, that's right. The pie has already been dispersed. Now we're allowing you another seat to enjoy some pie. That's all this is. Like, my question is, like, okay, so if they add an 18th game and then they add a second bye week, they would then have to start the season a year earlier, or a week earlier, correct? Because they're 1 week away from getting to the Sunday before President's Day. If they add a bye week and an 18th game, that would take them to 2 weeks added. That would mean the week after President's Day would be the Super Bowl. If they really want to get to that Sunday, correct? Is my math wrong in the calendar on that? If they would be adding 2 weeks to the NFL schedule, then if they add an 18th game and a second bye week, that'd be 20 weeks.
Well, I mean, they're already pushing the schedule back. I mean, that week isn't there yet. So I guess yes, we talk about adding 2 weeks. That week's not there quite yet. So yeah, I mean, no, there's always shorten the Super Bowl week. I mean, if you add 2 more weeks to the schedule, do you take away the bye week in the Super Bowl? I mean,
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it would. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, as I used to when I didn't have to cover a team that was going to the Super Bowl every year. I was like, get rid of the bye week. The bye week is terrible. But now I'm like, gosh, there's so much stuff that's going on during the bye week. I mean, this is. I mean, the bye week's needed. We can't play the conference championship games and then the Super Bowl a week later. No, that's not doable.
I think the issue is it's become such an event that in order for you to get the best out of that game, you give the team a week to prepare, and then the week to sort of a refresher, but you're doing so much media and so much stuff that is the pomp and circumstance around the NFL when you finally arrive at that city and the distractions that go along with it. They give you the week off so that you can put in all of the stuff to prepare for the actual game, because when you get to the city, I mean, there are a lot of distractions before that game starts. That you take away that bye week, now you're trying to fit everything into one. You're done with your championship game, and now you're on the road to that city and going through the practices and all the media stuff and everything. That would be, I don't know, with the way that the Super Bowl is today as opposed to like 30 years ago or something. I think they would be. I think it would be a mistake to take away that bye week.
Yeah, I think it would too. I mean, like I said, I think the bye week's really inconvenient, I think, for most of the league, except for the 2 teams that are in the Super Bowl. There's just so much going on, and the league has made it such a big deal that, and there's so much money made during Super Bowl week that, you have to have the bye week. I mean, there's no way to do it otherwise. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, I mean, would you, and I guess I'm not enough of a Gregorian calendar expert, Jason, to be able to calculate it out. But I mean, I don't see any legal
Does
necessarily.
Vahe have his own calendar? That's awesome, man. Good for him.
Maybe he's been named after Pope Gregory. I don't know. Yeah, it's to me there's probably a little bit of a logistic challenge in the fact that you legally can't play the NFL season in the first week or the last weekend of August. Now you could play a game on the last Thursday in August, but you can't really do anything that last weekend of August. I think you're running into the Sports Broadcasting Act at that point. Although as long as you're not playing on Saturday, I guess you could get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, could you push back the beginning so that it's the first weekend of September, and regardless of whether it's the first full weekend and it's after Labor Day and all that? Yeah, I mean, but then again, I mean, is that what the NFL wants to do? Does it want to be going back? Because once upon a time they did play on Labor Day weekend, and they wanted to get away from that. So.
Yeah, It's. Do you think there's any chance? I'll go ahead and let you know that I don't think there is. But do you think there's any chance of a full league bye week where there are some skills competitions like like baseball does, as opposed to a Pro Bowl at the end of the season? That the entire league takes that week off. I don't know. Maybe there's a greater than zero chance. Maybe it's .001. But do you think that thing would be dead on arrival with that proposal?
I mean, I kind of feel like it would. That's the thing that the owners would probably be fine with players asking for it, because then they can say no to something and feel like or say, hey, well, sure, we'll give you that, knowing that the players don't really want it either. Oh, Joe Burrow thinks it's a good idea. Yeah. So yeah, that's a classic case of the owners just allowing the players to negotiate with themselves, and take something out that the owners don't want either, but then make the owners look like they're giving up a concession. Because they don't want a skills week in week 13. And there's not a chance in the world Joe Burrow showing up for that thing. If
That's
they were
what I was
doing
going
that,
to say. He's not going to participate.
Joe Burrow if Joe Burrow is healthy, which good question, and two, the Bengals are in the playoff chase. That dude's going to have a sore elbow. I can't go, guys. Elbow's a little sore. Yeah, you're going to have to ask somebody else. Half the league's going to have sore hamstrings that week.
No doubt.
Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley is going to thrive in this. Remember, Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley? That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, there's the Major League Baseball is having a hard time getting the big names to participate in the home run derby, and that's when they get 5 days off in Major League Baseball. And now you're saying, hey, we're going to give you your extra bye week, but in this bye week, we want you then to come and do this sort of skills competition for a couple of days, and participate in that instead of going on vacation or doing whatever you want to do that you would typically do in your bye week. Like there would be a lot of guys where it's like, yeah, I kind of know who that guy is, but the stars are not going to show up to that, which is what is going to draw the ratings is the stars participating in something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's just exactly what some players want to do in December. Is go take a week off and go near time when you're trying to spend some time with the families and you're getting ready for Christmas and you got a lot going on. Yeah, everybody wants just to go participate in some skills game somewhere. And
Right.
I mean, you're not going to go do it someplace cool like Hawaii and on week one. You're going to go do it at some dumpy Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess Orlando in December is. Well, it's Orlando in December. I mean, there's a reason why there's nobody in Orlando in December.
Yeah,
I mean that's when you can go to Disney World cheap because it's off season. So
yeah, no
off
doubt.
season for a reason.
Yes. Hey, you rhymed. That was awesome, man. That was well done. Well done. All right, Matt. Next time we talk to you, the veterans will be reporting to camp. So. Maybe outside of seeing Hollywood, and we mentioned like the players you want to see there. Last week we talked about that, but as the quarterbacks and the rookies will be reporting on Tuesday, any storylines that you may be looking for on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before the veterans report on Friday?
Yeah, you hit the big one. I mean, you want to see Xavier Worthy, what he's going to look like out there. So we'll put him aside. After that, I mean, it's going to be some of the other rookies too. I mean, you want to see Louis Rees-Zammit, you want to see Kingsley Suamadi, where these guys picked up. The real storyline for the rookie mini camp is, looking to see who's lost and who seems like they're comfortable. You want to see that by the end of the camp that everybody's comfortable. But you can tell, on day one, who stayed in their playbook, who stayed in good shape. I mean, you can figure those things out pretty quickly. So you're kind of looking for that a little bit, see, who's really sharp. When it comes to camp, though, I mean, the big thing that I'm waiting for is going to be that first day in pads. Because that's when we're going to really find out about a couple of these guys, and even more so than usual. Because Louis Rees-Zammit is the one that we're really interested in the most. That's what we're going to learn the most about. And I try to create realistic expectations, Jason, for people. Because I don't like people to get overly too hyped or too low. I try to be even keeled and just be normal reporting. So I'm just going to say, hey, if you hear on the first day they get in pad and you hear Louis Rees-Zammit gets has like 3 fumbles and just gets clobbered. Yeah. Don't freak out. I think that's good. I think he probably needs that because he needs to make a few tweaks in his running style. He needs to tweak. Yeah. He kind of runs a little bit too upright. He holds the ball a little too high. Doesn't have enough points of pressure on the ball. So he needs to tweak a few things, and he will do that after the first couple of times he gets popped by an NFL player, and that I think will be good for him. Seeing Kingsley once he gets in the pads is going to tell us a lot about that left tackle position. So we got to wait a little bit in the camp before we see all of that. But with the rookies, I mean those first 3 days for me, a lot of it is just seeing if, and you can tell, like I said, you can see who stayed in the playbook and who didn't.
Yeah. Well, do you know offhand when that first padded practice is?
Without looking at my calendar, I want to say it is the practice on the 25th or 26th. It's like
okay, so that'd be like a full week there. The 26th would be a full week of the veterans being there. 25th would be,
it's like I think
Thursday,
I think it ends up being like that fourth day because it's the fourth practice because it's like the first practice after an off day. After usually like 3 days on, so because I think it's the 5th day of camp officially when they get to put them on.
Man, so we're a couple of weeks away from seeing these guys out there in pads. Matt Derrick joining us here from Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, appreciate it as always, brother. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk next week as you'll be hanging out there in St. Joe. Thank you for the time, brother, and we'll talk next week, man.
Sounds great. Can't wait, my friend. Take care out there in Lake Tahoe.
Yes, we'll try. We will do our best. We'll certainly.
Don't let him get into too much trouble.
Too late.
No,
too late.
I've not gotten in any trouble yet.
Too late.
I could have been, but I didn't, and I'm averaging 4 hours of sleep a night, and
That's not
I'm
bad,
thriving.
Okay. That's not
Matt,
bad.
I'm thriving.
Tell Holiday Inn Miles Teller to calm down.
Holiday Inn Miles Teller. Oh God, I love that. By the way, Matt Derrick called you a discount Miles Teller.
I mean, he's not wrong. There's a reason why there was no response. When someone's right, what are you going to say? Right you are, Matt. Right you are.
Yes, you should say that. Matt, appreciate the dimes, the drops, and the information. Thank you, sir.
Nothing but love, my friend. Take care, everybody.
Absolutely. There's Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. He's presented by Cap One Lending, the Freedom Loan at Cap One Lending, the exclusive loan that helps you pay your home off in less than half the time, gives you access to your home's equity without having to refinance. Go to caponelending.com. We'll continue rolling along here in Lake Tahoe, the American Century Championship. Our coverage here in Lake Tahoe is presented by Greenlight Dispensary. Make sure to check out greenlightdispensary.com for $25 top shelf eighths and weekly promos from the vendor of the week. It's greenlightdispensary.com. We'll take a timeout, come back, and we will talk with Jonathan Thomas, CEO of American Century, one of the best companies out there, certainly not just in Kansas City, and a great company, great people to work with. We'll talk with Jonathan Thomas, CEO of American Century, coming up next.
Visit Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway this summer for exciting live sports.
Tahoe American Century Championship, and one of the best, if not the best weeks of the year. It's on my calendar. I go out of my way to do what I can for Chad Boger 51 weeks out of the year, so that from time to time he'll say, "Hey, Jason, you good for Tahoe this year?" I don't know, Chad. Let me check my schedule. Oh, that's right. I've already got it blacked out. Yes, I am. I am good for Tahoe this year. Joining us from American Century, fantastic company, and 26 years as the title sponsor of this tournament. Jonathan Thomas, CEO of American Century Investments. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Jason, Sterling, thank you guys for having me. I could not be happier. This event is going as well as it possibly could have. You can hear by my voice, I've been running a little deep at night, but it's amazing, and the energy here. The positivity, the family environment, and it just keeps getting better every year. I know you guys were hanging out last night at the karaoke event, so you can judge by yourselves, but I don't think there's nowhere else in the world you can go and see what happened there.
Yeah, and it's, it's 26 years now.
Yep.
And last year was a 6-year extension that was signed with
Yes.
American Century with this. Which is awesome, because the tournament where it was, and then American Century took over with the title sponsor, and now we see the tournament what it is today. And it's as well of a run tournament as you could possibly have. And I think it speaks to, if you can run a golf tournament this way when it's not what you do,
Yes.
imagine how well you can run your business and what you do for your clients and the community and giving back and everything that American Century stands for.
Well, that's funny you should bring that up. I wear a lot of American Century shirts. people see it, and the first thing they say, 9 out of 10 people, is, "Oh, you guys have the best golf tournament ever." I'm like, "Yeah, it is good. It's very special." But the other 51 weeks a year, to use your quote, we actually run $250 billion of assets. We service clients around the world, and we help people achieve their financial objectives, whether it's saving for college, funding retirement, IRAs, and we have mutual funds, ETFs, private investments. But this is the event that puts the brand on the radar for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I've talked about it when we come out here, and we talked with Eric Schneeberger a couple of days ago. And, there are some times when we go places and it's like, all right, we're going to promote this thing because we want to talk to this person. But this is one of, if not the most or easiest promotion for me, a great Kansas City company, and to talk about and sing the praises of American Century, because I don't know how many companies would take 40% of the profits and say, how can we give back? Think of any business and almost cut those profits in half and say, if we need to do something else besides just lining our pockets, how do we help out the community, charities, Stowers, how do we give back for medical research, for cancer research? And without that, we're talking about $2 billion less of medical research without American Century.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the Kansas City thing. You guys probably have noticed over the years we've gotten rid of every other radio station there is here. The only radio station left is you guys.
I've noticed that, and to say I'm appreciative would be an understatement.
But and it does over-index. This entire event over-indexes to Kansas City, and I always try to give your listeners some insight on different matters. But yes, our model's very unique. Our owner set it in place many years ago. Really through our capital structure, and now on an ongoing basis every year, over 40% of our profits fund medical research, which supports the Stowers Institute, which is also headquartered in Kansas City, which supports about 550 scientific professionals doing this life-saving work and discovery work. It's really a really virtuous circle, and it's so cool that you're here, Stowers people are here, we're here, and then we're having this incredible, I call it golf tournament. I think that's an injustice. It's much more of a party with some golf mixed in out here, and just loving every minute.
Well, and I think the promotion of it is important, because my first trip out here to American Century, I think it was like 2007 or 2008, and I didn't know much about American Century other than it was a Kansas City company. And it was back when there was the comedy night. There were comedy, and it was the night where I can't remember his name, but it bombed. And Rascal Flatts came up and saved the night, right? And that was, I think that's where sort of the karaoke kind of got started a little bit. But you guys had a video presentation, and there's all this I had no clue about. Like, I'm like, what? They're giving all this stuff, like the promotion of it, which is why I love talking about it, because I think people should be aware of companies that are more in line with a higher calling, rather than just, hey, we've got our clients, and we need to take care of them, because without taking care of them, we can't give back.
That's
right.
That's exactly right. And literally, I know this sounds hard to believe, but first of all, being the CEO of a company where everybody has come to work there with a conscious decision, that knowing that 40% of the profits are going back to medical research, creates an amazing culture, an incredible workforce. And it inspires people. It inspires people to do extraordinary things every day to delight our clients, because they know if we win new business, retain existing business, get additional business, all of it's going to make this world a better place for us, our children, and our children's children. And that sort of mission-driven culture is very, very hard to find, but it creates a highly impactful organization. It's why we're one of the biggest asset managers in the entire country.
I know you went out and played a little golf on yesterday.
Yes.
First off, how'd you shoot?
So I played really well on Wednesday.
Good on Wednesday.
I love it.
Yeah, I played really well Wednesday. Yeah.
This year you played with Trevor Lawrence. What was the decision between deciding to pair up with Lawrence right there?
So one of the things I try to do, so in order to be in this tournament as a celebrity, you got to be one of the best in your field at what you do. So whether that's a comedian, a news anchor, an actor, or an athlete, you got to be among the very best. But then on top of that, I really want you to be a good person. I want you to be kind. I want you to be generous. I want you to be philanthropic. And this has turned this entire event into a very family-oriented, collegial environment by doing a screening process through that. This was Trevor's first year. He's 24 years old. He just signed a $275 million 5-year contract, most of it guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to know firsthand what he's like.
That's cool.
Is he going to be, very few people could handle the fame and the fortune and the success he has. But I got to tell you, he's as grounded and as humble and as kind as you can possibly imagine. We had an incredible experience with him. He even, a bunch of my high school friends from Shawnee Mission South are out here. He went and talked to all of them, made their day. He's a real pro. And it was a true honor to play with him.
Well, it's funny. I learned a lot about Trevor Lawrence on Tuesday afternoon. So Monday night we get into Reno, and we're getting ready to catch the shuttle, and we're talking to the lady, and she's like, "Oh yeah, meet me over at Carousel 2, and we'll get the shuttle set up. But I've got to get the shuttle for this guy behind you. His plane was delayed. They lost his luggage and everything. And I turn around, and it's Trevor Lawrence.
Oh my God!
And so I didn't say anything. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. So we see him on Tuesday out here, and he's on the driving range. And we're done with the show. We're walking over, and we walk over and we go, "They finally get your bags?" And he stopped on the range, and he came over and talked with us. He's like, well, got my golf clubs. So the golf club. He's like, everything I'm wearing, I bought today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And he just hung out with us for like 10 minutes talking about losing the bags. He's like, they're supposed to come in tonight, but maybe tomorrow. And his wife and their stuff. And it was, and I think we've had like 10 conversations with him at different times throughout the week that he's come up and like, hey, what's up, guys? Which is pretty, hey, you're a member of the media. A lot of times athletes are like blinders. I'm just going to walk this way, but he's every time we've seen him, he's like, hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Well, that's the other thing too that I think has worked well by having only one radio station here. They used to what I'll call avoid Radio Row because once they got there, they got pulled down by everybody.
Yeah.
Having one, they actually like it, and they all know it's a Kansas City-based firm and 810 that you guys dominate the space, and so they're eager to get the story out. But I'm very, very happy to hear he was as humble and as authentic with you guys as he was with us.
It was
He wasn't just putting on for the CEO of American
Yeah,
Century.
that's exactly what I mean by that comment. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So it was a tryout for him, and I think he passed.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, and the reality of it is you can't play golf, even though it's only 4 hours with somebody, and not start to get a good sense of their character.
That's a good point.
And he's a real gentleman.
Yeah, I don't play golf with Sterling anymore because of that. That's a great point.
That's because you're tired of losing.
That's right, too.
It's expensive.
Jonathan Thomas is our guest, CEO of American Century. Karaoke night is just a blast. And we were joking with Rob Riggle earlier that Travis Kelce is filming a TV show, gets on a plane, lands, gets in a car, comes to karaoke night, and kills Whitesnake and wins the karaoke night last night.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I love how he lives his life. He's going back to character. He makes everybody around him happy. He radiates positive energy. He and I were texting all this week, and he's got a lot going on in his life. But he said, JT, I'm going to promise I'm going to get there for karaoke. And it went on and on and on. And then all of a sudden he goes, I'm here, man.
That's awesome.
And he did. He rolled in. He got right up on stage. And I will say this, two things about that. One is there were actually much better singers than Travis. Travis won that based on enthusiasm.
His performance was
the
brilliant.
stage presence was electric.
It's not really, when you think about it, it was the energy, it was the enthusiasm. Yeah. They were a lot better if you guys were there singers than he was.
Alfonso Ribeiro was incredible.
I mean, he's like Michael Jackson on stage.
It was ridiculous.
Or Prince, I guess.
Prince, singing Prince, yeah.
But anyway, and my favorite line of the entire weekend so far is, so Travis comes in hot, goes up on stage, kills Whitesnake, and then we give him this little crystal trophy microphone about the size of a water bottle, and he holds it up in his acceptance speech. He says, "This is the best thing that's happened to me all year."
This one's for you, Taylor.
And this one's for you, Taylor, which is great. And I haven't had a chance to check social media, but I assume that has gone viral.
It has. It's gone so viral that people have stolen videos, but it's gone very viral.
Okay.
Viral. Jonathan Thomas, CEO of American Century. We joked that I think that trophy for Travis Kelce, when Travis and Taylor get married, when they have their room/house of trophies and awards, that should go next to the Grammys. That's a musical award.
It is a
that
musical
should be
award.
next to the Grammys.
Has to be there.
It's on the same level, right?
Oh, it's right up there. I mean,
think so.
If you look at the people he's up against in terms of talent, not
Right.
necessarily musical talent.
I'd love to
just-
see Taylor Swift go and win a football contest.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great point. Yeah, to catch a pass or something.
Yeah,
no,
come on.
but no, it's and he's just such a performer and a good person too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love how he lives his life.
We talked about earlier in the show the phenomenon that is not necessarily the Kelsey brothers, but really specifically almost Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
So yesterday he comes off the course and he's got security with him because there's a mob. Everybody's around him, and it's like 10 people deep to get autographs. And it was actually the security that had to say enough because he was over there signing and
He
signing.
kept going. Yeah.
He would have been there another 2 hours
Yeah.
because as long as he was over there, it got bigger and bigger. It was crazy, and it's just I'm watching it, and I can't imagine that guy's life over the last 2 years to where now he's here, but. He's one of the most popular people here at the tournament, and we joke that he might be the most popular offensive lineman in NFL history. Like, that is amazing to see him, and Jonathan celebrities were walking by him, and everybody was mobbed around Jason Kelsey and yelling Jason Kelsey to have him sign their autograph.
Well, he's super grounded for sure, and normally you kind of watch the arc of people's careers. And, generally they're either in slow decline or going up slowly. Hard to just stay steady. But he's had parabolic, exponential increase in his publicity and awareness and admiration for him. And you're right about offensive linemen. The first one we've ever we had Jonathan Ogden, I think, here at one point.
Yeah, because he let me. He allowed me to put on his Super Bowl ring.
Okay.
We were at the dinner one night, and he was at the table with us.
Same ring
Yeah,
size.
I put it on my. I put it on my pinky and ring finger, and it was still a little loose.
Yeah, and then Andrew Whitworth, could not be a better guy. It's going back to the criteria of what we screened for. Won the Walter Payton Award. He's the only O-lineman we've ever had back for multiple years. And so he's here. This must be about his third year. And now Jason, I had a chance to talk with him the other night, and I said, I really appreciate you coming. And he says, I'm here because Travis tells me this will be the best week of my year. So I said, well, we're going to do our best to make it that way. But he seems to be having a great time.
How does I know you got to go, but how does somebody get an invite to this? Because they all talk about waiting to get the invite, and I finally got the invite.
Yeah, it's probably the hardest thing we do here is have to put together that list. Yeah. I mean, we've got 20 active athletes, 15 Hall of Famers, 10 MVPs, 4 Heisman Trophies winners. But maybe the weirdest or hardest part of it is we have 15 new players this year.
Yeah.
And in order to bring in 15 new players, I have to let go of 15 previous players. And there's a lot of drama behind the scenes there. But we got to keep this fresh. We got to keep it young. And I look at my names. I got John Carlson Daly, Joe Flacco, Blake Griffin, Chris Harrison, Jason, Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Kachuk. If you haven't interviewed him, by the way, you need to get him. He's unbelievable. And it just
Rob McElhaney.
Yeah, Rob McElhaney.
That's my favorite. That's who I don't geek out here. I did around Rob. That was the one time in a long time that I've been like, all right, I'm a little nervous around him.
So we really look at again, how do you get invited? You got to be great in what you do. And you got to be a good person, and then there's got to be room, which is actually the hardest part. We have a list of hundreds of players that tell us, you can call me as late as Thursday night, and if there's an opening, if somebody drops down, I'm going to show up and play. We're like, okay. And I feel bad, because I think a lot of people are actually keeping their calendars open. But we don't have any drops ever. We have one this year, actually, Vinny, but normally we don't have anybody drop.
I did go to the clubhouse and asked if they had room for a single.
Okay.
I said I play fast.
Yeah.
If you need a single, I'm thought about walking.
He really did do that.
Well, then we have a list of I thought it was 217. Maybe we have a list of 218 people waiting to get on the course.
Yeah, we've called him Discount Miles Teller.
Okay. Oh yeah, I can kind of see it, the mustache and the whole thing.
But very discounted.
Yeah.
Very discounted. Like it's a dented can and it's already on sale. It's all of that.
Yeah.
75% off. 75% off.
There you go. Jonathan Thomas, CEO of American Century, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for continuing to have this phenomenal company run the way that we would hope a lot of different companies would be run in this country. And continuing to sponsor this tournament. It's been a blast, and it's as well done as any event that anybody will find.
Thank you, guys. I really love that you're here. Appreciate it. Help your viewers. All are doing one last thing, ACC Fantasy Golf.
Yep.
Oh, I guess it's too late.
Well, they can do the individual days,
that's
so they
true.
can fill out tomorrow and Sunday still.
Yeah, so do that. 3 all expense paid trips every day, and then the overall winner gets $10,000 to their favorite charity.
Yeah, it's so cool. Jonathan, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. You're
Absolutely. There's Jonathan Thomas, CEO of American Century. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Bobby Flay. Bobby Flay on the other side of the break. More Zone next.
like, in lots of kitchens, chef is like, that's what you just call everybody. But in my kitchen, I always tell my team just to call me Bobby. I've never really been comfortable with it. It's
Really?
no. I mean, listen, we're just cooking food, right?
Yeah.
So like, I just, to me, it's just I'm more comfortable with that.
What is it like for a guy like you who's been doing this your whole life, and now you see the immense popularity in pulp culture for cooking, whether it be, your shows, and now you mentioned The Bear, one of the biggest TV shows out there. Like, what's it like for you that's been there behind the scenes the whole time, and now so many people are getting to get a better glimpse behind the scenes? What goes into being somebody that makes these immaculate dishes?
I mean, listen, I've watched the emergence of this basically my entire career. I dropped out of high school when I was 16. Cooking in a restaurant in the United States was really only a blue-collar profession. There was no fashion attached to it like there is now, anywhere near it. And so it's really wonderful to see, how it's grown, in not only in popularity, but also in quality and how people think of it. And also, it's also great for younger people who are thinking about a career. It's now on the list. It never used to be on the list to be in the back of the house, so to speak. And so now I'm somebody who needed vocational education in my life because I could not succeed in a traditional educational way. Dropped out of high school. I was not going to learn reading an English textbook. I needed to work with my hands, but I didn't know that until I did it.
Yeah.
And then when I got into a kitchen because I needed a job, I didn't go there because I was like, I want to be a chef one day. I was like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And so I started cooking, and like the light bulb went off.
Wow.
And so basically I've been doing the same thing for like the last 40 years.
Yeah. So I work in sports radio, and it changes the way that I watch TV or movies that have to do with sports.
Yeah, of course.
Have to do with like foot. I'm like, okay, that's not real. Okay,
Yeah.
come on, that's exaggerated. Do you do that when like The Bear? It seems like, to be a great chef, you got to get abused, you got to work all these hours, you got.
Yeah.
Do you watch shows and are like, all right, that's exaggerated. Come on, people are going to think that's real, and that's not real.
Look, I think that there's definitely. I mean, they've used a lot of consultants who live the real world of the restaurant business, for sure. And so there's certainly some things that ring true, in a show like The Bear, and there's some things that are over dramatized. I mean, let's face it, it's TV, but I think it's all good. I mean, I always want people to think about the restaurant business as a positive place to work because it really is. Like in every industry, there's things that aren't great, but I think that the restaurant business is a place that anybody can work, anyone.
Yeah.
As long as you have the work ethic and the passion to do it, it can really change your life in the most spectacular way. First of all, you learn a craft. You learn how to make things that people are actually going to eat and be satisfied eating. And you learn how to work with people, and you learn how to work really hard. I mean, I think if you have those basics in life, you have a real good chance to succeed. So I always think about the restaurant business in a really positive way.
Do you ever just sit down and just enjoy a meal without judging of what it tastes like and what the ingredients are and things like that?
98% of the time.
Good for you.
I mean, I love to cook, and I love cooking in my restaurants. I love cooking in homes for my friends and my family. It's the way that I show my adoration to them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when I'm out to dinner, I'm just eating and drinking a margarita like everybody else.
My wife and I were talking last night. We were at the food trucks. I'm like, I want to go over and ask, is this good? Like is this really good? What does Bobby think of this particular
The Hawaiian
dish?
fried chicken last night was really good. Did you
Okay,
have it?
so we had it.
Yeah,
we had it.
It was really good. I was like, I kind of got addicted to it. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Bobby, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have fun.
Anytime. Thanks.
All right, there's Bobby Flay, and what a fun conversation it was with him, and good to know that 98% of the time he sits down and just enjoys the food and doesn't judge for what it tastes like, or at least what the ingredients are, and is this a high-level dish or whatever. That was cool. Also, the story's fascinating, and certainly I would love to dive a little bit more, deeper into him dropping out of high school at 16 and saying, I'm not a guy who learns in a book. I'm a guy that learns with my hands. So what am I going to do? I need to figure it out right now. And you sort of just fall into being one of the greatest chefs and most popular chefs in the world because you work at a restaurant and you fall in love with it. And it's interesting. But also interesting to hear him talk about, there's a lot of consultants on The Bear. So there are people that have lived through it. Some of it's dramatized, as you would expect. But essentially hearing that is like, no, there's a lot of things in The Bear that are real life, except for don't call Bobby Flay chef. David Wells next.
Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes. We're hanging out at the American Century Championship in Lake Tahoe. And very pleased to be joined by a man who, we talked with him last year, and we had a conversation with this guy while we had Les Norman on the air with us, so that was a lot of fun. But David Wells, a mainstay out here, Boomer, 21 years in Major League Baseball. How many years here at American Century for you?
Well, like 16, 15, 16, something like that.
You're coming up in as many years playing American Century as you did in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
What's tougher on your body? These golf rounds? Of course.
Well, yeah, because you got to walk Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, you don't walk on the mound. You just, you got your little area that you got to cover, and that's about it. But, I would take baseball because I suck at golf. So, but I love golf so much, and especially this tournament is just, it's been a blessing in disguise. It's just a lot of fun, and you see a lot of these guys out here that are a lot of great dudes, and then there's some just dudes, So, but to get the invite here, this is the best tournament ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I played in a lot of tournaments, and nothing compares to American Century. The American Century.
That's right.
The American Century, yes.
As somebody who grows up playing baseball and playing it professionally, when did the golf love come about? Was that during playing? Was that post-career? Like, when do you start to fall in love with the golf game?
I started playing golf in 1990, I think, when I was in Toronto. I think I went to Ernie Witt's charity event in Toronto there, and I just, I was hacking all over. I didn't know what to do, so I'm like, you know what? Let me hit it right-handed. And I hit it 300 yards right down the middle right-handed. I'm like, man, maybe I should play right-handed. But then the next ones were just, stick to left-handed. At least I made better contact. But I just got lucky one time. But I just started picking it up then and just playing in spring training. Never played during the season. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just gradually just started becoming better and better because you fix your slice, and all that stuff, and your hooks, and you usually get a couple lessons, and you just kind of work with it and try to retain that information that you get and just put it out there. And then, usually it comes along. And, for a good while, I was playing really good. I got down to a 2 at one point.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Because I was playing really good, doing all that, and then it just, ever since that, I just went backwards, and I'm probably a 10, 11 now. So
you're still good. That's still
solid.
Yeah,
I mean, you just try to compete out here. You just don't want to be in the red. You want to be in the
it's
black.
Positive, right?
Yeah.
I just want to be in the positive scores, not the negative scores.
Exactly.
It's Stableford scoring, if people don't know. So the higher score, the better this weekend.
Right.
See, and typical golf for me, I would kill if we did regular scoring, but if I just said it was Stableford, I would be awesome. I would be awesome. Yeah, because I'm not good at golf. So the higher score for me on my scorecard, I just tell everybody, no, that's the good. I was using Stableford scoring on that one. Yeah, that 5 on the 3, that's actually 5 points because I did so well on that hole.
I have an idea, right? Supposedly says that you were skull-rattlingly hungover. You were so hungover when you pitched your perfect game. One, is that true?
100%.
And then 2, have you thought about doing that for your golf game?
I've done it, and it does not work in golf.
No translation?
No, because when you go to putt, you look down, you start spinning. You're like, oh, my God, you're going to fall down, you're going to puke, you're going to do whatever. So, no. You try to be sober on
But you didn't when you saw the
days.
catcher's mitt, huh? You're good then?
Yeah, because I'm looked down, and I look around, I'm just like, I just knew where to throw the ball. That's all.
You could do it in your sleep. You could do it blindfold. How that game has become so legendary, especially from some of those stories. How true are some of those stories about? You mentioned it was true about being hungover, but how hungover was it to where you couldn't really pitch, or you went out there and just like it's become sort of a urban legend about like now some people are like he was drunk on the mound, like it was crazy what he was doing out there. But
I probably, if I blew, it'd probably be about 3 or 4.
When the game started?
Yeah, because when I got to the park that morning, David Cohn's like, wow. And I go, what? He goes, you stink. I go, what? I'm like, he goes, no. the alcohol's coming out of your pores. He told me to go hide because he didn't want Torrey to. If Torrey would have smelled me, he would have said, "Yeah, you're done for the day."
Were you able to avoid Torrey?
Oh yeah, I avoided him like the plague. Still do.
Still don't want him to smell you, even to this day.
No, I wasn't a really big fan of Joe. We didn't really see eye to eye, in a lot of things. Nowadays you try to cut the cord and, move on and all that stuff. But you don't forget those days, So you tell the truth. You tell the story, what happened and all that. But, today he's a good man. Mm-hmm. I don't dislike him. But the stories are there, and then when they keep popping up, they do that, and then, it goes back in the hair, and then they start talking crap on you. But I don't give two, what's about it. So,
was it a personality thing, or just like the way that he managed? Because there's got to be managers that you got along with that you enjoyed. That was it just one of those things where some people just oil and water?
It was oil and water. I had a lot of extracurricular activity during my career. I burned the candle at both ends a little bit, but I love the game. I love to compete, and no matter what stage I was in, I was out there and I was giving you 100%. You want to be, 100%, alcohol free, but it's not like I went out every game and did that. But just sometimes you get caught up in the moment at night, and like last night we got caught up a little bit playing some beer pong. I haven't played that in I don't know how many years. So my son was there, and I said, "You take over, man." And he ended up killing it because he just graduated from college. Or what they do in college?
Yeah.
They play beer pong.
For people that don't know, Sterling ends up playing this beer drinking game called baseball
with David Wells,
Miles Teller, and T.J. Oshie, and the Miz was over there. Just an incredible night that somehow those things come together.
Yeah, and to me that was, that's what you just like those. You get caught up in those moments, and then you're just having fun. You forget about reality, and you're in the moment. And that was like during my career. It was just in the moment. If I happened to do something, but when you throw a perfect game, hungover as hell, you might want to try to repeat that the next game. And I did, but not to that extent. I went out and had a few pops, but I was a little dusty the next day. But in my next game, I end up, I think, almost having another one. So, but it's just something that you just do. But for me, I take my job seriously. I felt like I was a team player. I hated to lose, and you try to make the guys around you better. And but we had such a great staff. But Joe just did not like me one bit. And you notice those things. So to me, it was how he treated certain guys, and I wasn't on that list, and there was a handful of other guys who weren't on that list, and that's not the way it should be. Yeah. I played for Bruce Bochy, and Bruce was just such a wonderful, just a player's manager. Jim Fregosi was the same way. It was great because I'd come in and Jim would let me write the lineup.
Wow.
Days that I pitch, he'd go, "You write the lineup. Who do you want in there?" And I'd do it.
Wow.
And Boch let me do it a couple times, but to me, it's one of those things that you want to go out. You want the best guys out there, And for me, I compete, and I don't want to come out of a game. And Joe would come out and get me for Mo, and I'm like, hell no, I want the CG, dude. He tried to pry that ball out of my hand. I'm like, no, get the F out of here, dude.
Well, what's so impressive is 239 wins, but how many different teams? How many different iterations of teams?
Nine.
Well, that's my point. Everywhere you went, you won.
Right.
What's the common denominator here?
Probably me.
It's you.
Yeah, because, I'm a grown man. Don't tell me what to do. I know what to do. But, that's just how the thing was. And, it's a crazy journey that I had. But, it just wherever I went, I won. Because, like I said, it was that competing factor, and I wanted to pitch against the best players. And I did, and I got them out. And there's a few guys I didn't get out. But for the most part, the record speaks for itself. My walk to innings ratio was really good. Strikeout, I wasn't a really big strikeout guy. I pitched to contact, but yeah, that's the way I played, and I was just my own guy out there, and I hated authority.
Well, I mean, the pitch to contact part of it. I mean, in that perfect game, he had 11 Ks that day. So
I helped my cause.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's okay to help yourself out with that one. It's always those superstitious things, right? David Wells is our guest.
And I was superstitious.
Really?
Oh my God.
Did you? When do you start? Do you start to think about it? Is it not even in your mind? Do you realize, oh my God, I got a perfect game going right now?
Well, I didn't know really till like the fourth or fifth inning. I went in and grabbed the water, and I heard Michael Kay and John Sterling on the radio. David Wells got a perfect game. And I ran out of there so quick. I didn't want to hear it. La 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 la. I gave up 3 runs last inning. You psych yourself out. The reverse psychology of it. But yeah, you just you try to find that common ground, what works for you, and when you go out there and you compete, and that's the way I take it in all sports, because my superstitions were so crazy, and I still do it to this day, and it's stupid, but I guess it's hereditary from baseball to just normal life, but I still do a lot of the same things to do it. Like I said, it's a superstition, and you don't want to do it because then maybe something bad will happen. Who knows?
What's the craziest superstition that you do?
I mean, they're stupid. They're just stupid superstitions. It's like, like on a towel. Like when you're drying off with a towel, you got that little tag on it.
Yeah.
It always has to be on the bottom.
Always at the bottom.
Always at the bottom.
I appreciate that.
Wait, really?
Always at the bottom. Yes, you don't dry off with the tag at the top when you start drying off with the towel.
Yeah.
100%.
I know this.
I like, just getting dressed. I put my clothes on the same way, and it's just stupid little things, and if I'm like sitting somewhere and I'm eating seeds and there's steps in front of me, I got to spit one on the first step and then the second step and the third. It's just it's just weird stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, I kind of repeat myself every day what I do. And so,
well, for someone that needs to repeat delivery and mechanics over and over again, that's probably pretty good.
That's probably where I got it, because I repeated it pretty good.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I had, I had my bad days, obviously, where you're going to get your butt whooped, and but that happens with the best of them.
Yeah.
You can't go out there and be, successful every outing. It's just not going to happen. It'd be nice, but it's not. So to me, I just, you just take it. You just go with the flow, and you're, you just tend your own garden. I think you're going to be all right.
David Wells is our guest. Sorry, Sterling. Just about the perfect game, and the superstitions that go along with it. I've always thought, like, when people are saying you can't tell the pitcher, they don't want to know that that's going on. As it gets to like the 8th or 9th inning, nobody's around you.
No.
Like, they're at the other side of the dugout. Like, that's one way of saying we know you have a no-hitter or a perfect game. I've always thought that was sort of odd. Like, we don't want to remind him that he's got a no-hitter perfect game, but we're not talking to him or coming near him, which means we're letting him know he's got a no-hitter / perfect game.
No doubt. And I remember trying to sit next to Tino, and he got up and walked away. I'm like, fuck. And then I walked through the dugout, and it's like the parting of the Red Sea. It's just like this. I'm like, guys, come on. But then David Cohn in the 8th inning, getting ready to go out for the 9th, and he's just like, he comes up to me and goes, hey, break out your knuckleball this inning. I go, what? I go, what? And he goes, break out your knuckleball. I go, dude, I don't throw a knuckleball. And he goes, yeah, you do. I play catch with you every day. You got a good knuckleball. I threw one, but I never would throw it in the game. And I just I go, what the hell is this guy doing? And then I got halfway to the mound going out there and then that was in the 7th. And then I realized what he was trying to do, and he was just trying to get my mind off of what was going on. And to me, it was genius, because I was thinking about what he's saying and not thinking about what I was doing out there, and it worked. And then I remember coming in after that inning, and he's on the top step. His veins popping out. He's like, you got nothing. You got nothing. You show me nothing out there. He called me a and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And then in the 9th inning, I go out there, and then you see a picture of him. He's all hunkered in. All you see is his eyes. He's he's hiding himself. And I'm on the mound. I look, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is great. But that was Dave. He was my best friend, and still is. And to me, it's just he knows the game. So you try to do that, but you don't want to be that guy to disturb or it's superstitious that you don't want to cause the the demise and the failure of a perfect game or a no hit or whatever it may be.
You were with Toronto the next year, right? After the perfect game, or were you one more year with New York? Were you on the Yankees when David Cohn pitched his perfect game?
No, that was '99. I
Okay.
got traded the first day.
Okay.
I got traded for Clemens the first day of spring training.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Pissed off.
I was going to ask if you reciprocated David Cohn.
No,
He's here. You and Clemens just.
Yeah. Roger's here, and actually it was great because then I went back to the Yankees in 2002 and 3, and one of the games I think it was my 200th win, and Roger was the manager of the game. He comes out, he's walking on. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? I mean, I didn't get it. He's like, but. Torrey says, here, you go get him. I'm not going to get him.
Wow.
Something like that. But it was a great moment. It was awesome. I just started chuckling out there at it. But yeah, when you get traded because, you're a fan favorite, you just had a great year. You throw a perfect game. You win the World Series. And then you get traded. And it's just like, and my dream was to play for the Yankees. From growing up as a kid, Padres or the Yankees were my team. So, I got to play for both of them. It was great. But to have that happen just didn't do it. But, and I knew a lot. It was Joe, because I heard a lot of things after I got out of the game from coaches, from office personnel that stuff comes out, the skeletons come out of the closet and that's where you just go, okay, that's why I try to forgive and forget, but sometimes it just sucks because, you wanted to be on a team so bad and you end up winning 2 more World Series, and those could have been my rings.
Yeah.
And that's what hurts. That's what pisses me off. I don't care about the money part. It's the rings. It's the hardware that you get because you play so hard and you do your job out there every day for that accomplishment, and it didn't happen. So
you got 2. That's still
got
hard.
2 of them.
Still hard to open doors with 2 on you.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Which is it's pretty awesome. So David Cohn and trying to take your mind off of that perfect game. Is that what happened? What happens on mound visits when coaches? Is there strategy? Is there times where it's just like we're going to talk about anything but baseball because you need to relax and get your mind off?
That's 90% of it was that.
Really?
That was just giving you a little break. You're getting, you're going through a little bad spell in that time, giving up a couple hits and, maybe walking a couple guys. And I wasn't known to walk guys. And they come out like, you all right? You good? Yeah. I'm just giving you a breather. We're all right. So I'm like, all right, good. Get the, I hated mound visits. I hated them. Wow. I did not like. I remember when I was with the Padres. Darren Bosley, and Darren and I played against each other in high school, and he beat me in CIF. I think I threw a one-hitter or no-hitter and lost. And he was my pitching coach when I was with the Padres, and I remember him coming out to the mound one day, and I started yelling. And I said, Tara, get the F out of here, dude. Just turn around. And he just turned around and walked away. Didn't say that. He didn't even make it to the mound because I was yelling at him from the mound because I just said, no, this is my game, bro. I got a little more experience than you do. But Darren, that was, I felt bad for him, but he's like, hey, I get it. And you want to talk about a superstitious guy. He was the epitome of it. You touch him, he had to touch you back.
Whoa.
it was that bad.
Wow.
So but it's pretty funny, but those bound visits weren't for me because I knew what to do.
What percentage of pitches that are strikes the first pitch after a mound visit? Is that like 90%? 90% of the next pitches are strikes after a mound visit?
It's down the middle, and usually they get clobbered.
I know. It's like, all right, well, here comes a strike. I mean, he's relaxing a little bit. Right now, he definitely knows I got to throw a strike here. I got to get ahead of this batter.
Well,
it feels like almost every time there's a mound visit, next pitch strike.
Yeah. Well, hitters are smart too.
Yeah, right.
So they know they're getting a fastball coming down here, so they're swinging out of their ass. So it's like, you got to do that. But to me, it's those. It could be good or it could be bad, But either way, I just don't come out. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on. You don't need. You're not going to tell me something I don't know already.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to give myself a break.
Yeah.
I'll walk off the mound. I'll go behind it, tie my shoes, get a little breather.
So you're not a fan of the pitch clock.
I was going to say, what about now with the pitch clock? You can't give yourself that
right there with the pitch clock. It wouldn't have worked. I mean, I didn't need the pitch clock because I worked fast.
Yeah,
but,
you were a quick worker.
But a lot of guys don't. Some guys, their rhythm is slow, and that's what they do. But this Manfred dude, he's such a douche. And he's ruining the game of baseball, if you ask me. But, that's why.
He knows my thoughts on good old Robbie M right there.
Yes. But, to me, it's guys are going to get hurt because you're speeding them up, and they don't need to be sped up. That's just their MO. And, that's how they work. But, no, we need games in about an hour and 20, hour and 5, do that. The fans, they can stay as long as they want. They paid the money to go. Leave when you want. Don't. But everyone's bitching and complaining about it, and it's like, just, shut up. It's America's pastime.
Yeah.
You're now making me chug beers quicker.
Yeah.
Now it's
right?
on you, Rob.
Yeah.
You see? Like, now you're making me have to drink quicker.
Yeah, last night I was looking around who's doing the next one because I'm not doing it.
David kept handing me last night. He kept handing me. You want this? You want this?
Yeah. I love in the background where you hear your wife, David. You are 61 years old.
I know. You heard it. I'm like, and then I started making some. She says,
yeah, that's my guy.
Yes, I heard that one too. That's my guy.
Yeah, it's true.
That is great. You mentioned like you worked quick, which you did. I've always wondered like. When it comes to guys that pitch to contact, is it imperative that you're like, I got to work quick because my guys behind me need to be ready to go because if I'm taking my time, now they're losing focus. If I'm quick, we're in it. I'm pitching to contact. I got my defense behind me. Let's go.
That's you said it. That was it. You want to keep them on their toes. You don't want them on their heels. You're just sitting there and you're walking the the park and. Hit after hit, and you're lagging. They don't want that. They want to keep the game rolling, and I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
But some guy, Brad Penny, was total opposite. This guy took an hour and a half to warm up in the bullpen, and then he didn't really pitch quick, but he was such a productive guy. He was a great pitcher, and just certain guys. But to me, I just especially with really good hitters, you want to quick pitch them. Like Manny Ramirez, I wouldn't let him get his feet set. I'm already throwing. He's calling timeout, doing this and that, and I'm ready to go. Because, these are the guys that are going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So you try to get them out of their rhythm.
Was there somebody that you couldn't get?
Mo Vaughn. I couldn't get him out.
And that's lefty-lefty.
I know.
Wow.
And that was my job.
That's because he hung out over the plate with all the protection and the guards, everything.
That was a puss.
Take
that crap off, man.
He had shoulder pads and football gear on, and he was just hanging out over the plate.
I know.
He daring you to hit him.
Well, Bonds was kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But, you got that pad. Nothing's going to hurt. And I just told him, man, I can't get you out anymore. I love you, buddy, but hang with him. I'm going to drill you. He goes, I'm going to hit you, and he goes, not. And I said, do you know me to hit anybody in the head? He goes, no. I said, then just deal with it. Throw you a BP fastball. If the guy's on, I'm just going to throw a BP fastball, hit him. Because he's a liability on first base. He can't run.
That's true.
So he's a double play candidate. So I got him on double play. So, yeah, it was great.
That's phenomenal.
Baseball strategy right
Love
there.
That strategy.
101.
Yeah.
It's like Barry Bonds, bases loaded. I'm going to walk him. One's better than four.
Exactly.
I guess I'll just have to give up one run here.
Well, I remember when I was, I was a rookie in Seattle, and Alvin Davis. He left-handed hitter, and they brought me in. His bases loaded, and I gave up a grand slam. And Cito Gasson was the hitting coach then, and he came up. He got all in my crap, and I'm like, he goes, why didn't you walk him? I go, walk him? It's my job to get him out. I'm like, I didn't know anything about that. I'm trying to get the guy out. He hit a grand slam off me. My first grand slam of my career, and I was just like, wow, I just got railroaded by my hitting coach. And then became a manager, and then I really got railroaded from time to time. Yeah, we had a few battles, and, to me it was just like, I know what I need to do, but, you make mistakes sometimes. Yeah. It's part of the game. Yeah. Hang with them. Don't blame me. You should have brought me in.
That's on you. It's on you, manager.
Eventually, you got to take responsibility of me not being able to get it done.
Yeah.
David Wells, our guest, Boomer. I really appreciate you stopping by. This was a lot of fun. Absolutely. Love coming out here, and we get a chance to talk with you, and it's always fun. The conversations are always different. I love that.
Yeah.
And just love that there's so many of the same faces out here with American Century. It's really cool because once you're invited one time, then it's about I got to get back.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I get that invite next year.
You just cross your fingers and pray that you make the list. And, when you don't, you're like, oh, man, where am I going to go now?
What am I going to do that week?
That July's coming up.
Local muni course right there. You just got to stay.
Yeah.
Some...
Stay home. Watch something crazy on TV and not watch this tournament because you're not in it.
Take your mind off it.
But like I said, it's just it's a blessing and an honor to play in this event because it's so good, and they go all out for for the players, and how it's grown over the years, 35 years of this, and they were showing highlights last night in the meeting, and from the first outing till now, and just how 17 is built up, and getting record-breaking attendance now, so it's good.
Yeah, we're talking with Billy Rappaport with NBC the other
Love
day.
Billy.
One of my very, very good friends
Yes.
is Billy, and he was telling a story. 35 years ago, he's been doing it from the day one.
Yeah.
And he said, I was outside on the street trying to give away tickets. Do you guys want to see some celebrities play golf? No, thank you. Hey, you guys want to see some celebrities play golf? Here's tickets. Because that was 35 years ago. He's like, and now look, this is just amazing. Got 17. He's like, but when this thing started, we were trying to give away tickets just to get people to come here to do this.
It's a golden ticket now.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Now it's a ticket to kick it.
Yeah. David Wells,
Love
our
it.
guest. David, you're the man. Very much appreciate the time. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. There's David Wells joining us here in the Zone. We take a timeout. We come back. More Zone right after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're in the Zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You know, men, as you age, you can maybe feel some different symptoms that are going on. And it could be All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, hanging out in Lake Tahoe, American Century Championship. Our coverage presented by Greenlight Dispensary. Thank you to David Wells joining us there in the previous segment, and Rob Riggle, Joe Theismann, Jonathan Thomas that we've talked with this week, and a lot more. And one of the cool things about getting a chance to talk to some of these former athletes and celebrities, et cetera, is some of the content, some of the conversation you get, and that inside view. And very excited about some of the conversations that we had. So I want to play some of those things back, just some chunks that were really good. And Joe Mauer, who's going into the Hall of Fame a week from Sunday, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I asked soon-to-be Hall of Famer Joe Mauer about Royals catcher Salvador Perez.
I love the guy, love his game, love his play. Couldn't be a nicer person. And, when we step between the lines, you compete, and really enjoyed competing against him over those years. And it's fun to watch him keep going. He'd probably say the same thing. He probably loves catching and wanted to be back there, and I'm more of the same too. But, yeah, it's fun to watch him and keep going strong. And, like I said, he was one of the best defensive and offensive catchers there when we played. So that was fun to see him keep going.
Now, as a Hall of Famer, I'll ask you, is Salvador Perez a Hall of Famer in your mind?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. I mean, just the time that we played and what he's been able to do on both sides of the plate. Big game player, won a World Series.
World Series MVP.
State World Series MVP, but, his defense, I mean, he's a Gold Glove caliber defender year in and year out, and you can go up there and get the big hit too. So, I think that's what helped me. I think the writers, that I've talked to after the fact said, you did it both sides, and Salvador can do it at both sides.
Hey, that's all you need to know. He gets my vote. Joe Mauer, Salvi gets my vote. On the football side, we talked to a couple of quarterbacks that had interactions with Chris Jones, which is certainly interesting. But we had a chance to talk to Derek Carr and also Matt Ryan. And one of those active, one of those recently retired. Here comes Derek Carr. We talked with him, former Raider quarterback, current Saints quarterback Derek Carr. Said the Saints made moving to a new franchise after 9 years with the Raiders easy.
For me, I talked to Cam. And I talked to DeMario beforehand, and I said, "Look, man, how does it look?" They're like, "Look, we lead. Our leaders are all in this thing together. It ain't my show, your show." I was like, it's our show, and so come in and be you. And so they really gave me the freedom to just come in and be me, And the hard thing for me was, I knew it was going to be difficult because they were just making that transition at that position. Was Jameis being there, like he was their starter, he's like their guy, and like I know if I was in that situation, someone comes in the room, like my guys aren't just going to turn,
right.
Like we're welcoming and we're loving, but it's still like that's my guy,
Right.
And so that part, that dynamic, I wasn't ready for either, and that was new for me because I've never been, because I'm trying to be respectful of that. I understand that situation, that's tough, but Jameis was one of my favorite teammates I've ever had, one of the best teammates I ever had, and he really helped that transition too, of making it easier.
Yeah, because that's not it. You never know what you're going in. You never know what that other guy might be like.
100%.
We credit, in Kansas City, we talk all the time about Alex Smith.
Oh, man.
That they drafted Patrick
guy.
Mahomes, and he could have been an AH.
Yeah.
He could have been a jerk to him. Like, hold on, I've got this team in the play. We're in the divisional round every year. Like, what are you talking? We've won the division back-to-back years. You're drafting a quarterback. Yeah. Instead, all he did was mentor him for an entire year, and Patrick still talks about how amazing that year. Like, you never know what you're walking into, and that little bit, can go so far, from behind the scenes.
100%. That's how, when I first got to the Raiders, Matt Schaub was for me.
Oh, yeah.
Schaubby, he ended up, like, they were like, Derek, you're sitting, you're going to rest, you know, you're going to play someday, but not yet.
Yeah.
And he ended up having, like, an elbow thing, and I played in the preseason, played really well. They're like, hey, go ahead. And I was like, everyone was like, even me, I was like, I thought I was getting traded when they called me in. I thought I played well in the preseason, so someone who got hurt, like, they're trading me, you know? And they're like, no, you're going to start week 1 against Rex Ryan. I was like, sick. That'll be fun. Sure, I'll see a new blitz.
Cool.
But that's how Shabby was for me. Like, I remember one game specifically where, I ended up throwing like a back shoulder go ball. We didn't connect on it. DB made a play, and our shallow cross came running wide open. They're like, look, you got to throw the shallow here. And Shabby goes, hold on. You told him all week if he gets this matchup one-on-one to throw this back shoulder and take the chance. You can't say that. And I was like, bro, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. He could have easily been like, not say anything.
Yeah. I know. I mean, you should have put me in.
Yeah.
I'd have thrown the shallow cross, but whatever, yeah.
That's right. But he was like, no, you guys told him all week to make that throw.
Wow.
And so that moment right there, I was like, I mean, I just want to be that way too for all the young guys that I've gotten to mentor over the years. now in my 11th year. Like I just wanted to love on them, teach them, just so they have the best career they could have.
I'm sure you know Chiefs fans can be a little brutal, right?
Yeah, I've heard the worst of it.
What are you talking about?
but one of the cool things I have seen with you in particular is very few where they start being the hated, and then all of a sudden they turn into the immense amount of respect.
Yeah.
We've watched this from Derek Carr. I think Phillip Rivers to an extent as well. You see guys who we can't stand these guys, and as they're in the final couple of years where they switch teams, it's all of a sudden like, man, I love to root against that guy, but damn, do I respect the hell out of him. And you're one of those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that happen, the transition, but I always thought it was so cool because it's very hard for Chiefs fans to give that sort of respect.
No, 100%. And we had so many. I mean, I've had so many memories, like so many crushing defeats, or an amazing victory, or the close game. The night, was it Monday night or Sunday night, whatever that game was. Monday night game.
When Chris Jones had the sack and the strip and the fumble, they called it roughing the quarterback.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, it's cheating, Chris. You can't do that. You're not allowed. And I got up. I was like, bro. I was like, and he's just like shook his head. But I still think Devontae's 2 feet were down in bounds. I still think on that hole shot.
Boy, I don't know.
No, but
something tells me they weren't. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know why we have different views of that.
I don't know why. Oh man, but I just remember like towards like the my 8th year, my 9th year. That was it COVID where we won. I think it was COVID that year where we came in and it was a big scoring game. We won the game. It was really there. There was always a fan, because there was only a couple fans but there was always one dude that sat right behind me every single time, and they would go. I mean, they'd say the most obscene things ever. And then one time, I remember I threw like my 3rd touchdown of the game, and I came jogging off. He looks at me and he just gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah, my son's not allowed to go back to Chiefs games. That was the first one, and the Chiefs lost that game, exactly what he's talking about. And that was in 2020. It was the COVID year, and it was the interception that happened with Mahomes there in the 4th quarter, and Travis Kelce, 4 or 5 weeks later, took responsibility for it, said he ran the wrong route. The Raiders came in and put a bunch of points on the board, and the Chiefs went 14-1 with their starters that year. And their one loss was that particular game. So thank you to Derek Carr. Great dude. We had a lot of people react to that and say, damn it, Jason, I didn't want to like Derek Carr. Now I like Derek Carr even more. He's a guy that even though he played for the Raiders, pretty respectable dude, and understand why people can like him while also understand he's the Raiders quarterback. But also the Chiefs were 14-3 against Derek Carr, so that helps as well. Matt Ryan, who did not get a chance to win a Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons. He did play 1 year with the Indianapolis Colts. And as we remember, the Indianapolis Colts beat the Chiefs in Week 3, the 1 year Matt Ryan was the quarterback. And, there was a controversial call. And so, I want to get to the bottom of that. I asked Matt Ryan what Chris Jones said to him to get that unsportsmanlike penalty against the Colts in 2022.
I honestly don't even remember. Because whatever he said, I didn't hear it. And so I was like, I guess he said something. We're coming back out. It's funny, I look back on that kind of stuff. People ask about, like, whatever it is, trash talk all the time. For whatever reason, I like, you sometimes hear it, but you forget what people say, right? You're half listening to whatever they're saying. So I'm not even sure what he said, but I was thankful he said whatever he said because it kept us on the field.
That's right.
It's just one. Derek Carr with the roughing the passer where he
with
laid
Chris
on
Jones.
Derek Carr, because it was clearly not roughing the passer.
Chris Jones tackled him. He's holding the football. He strips football, and then he reaches out his left arm to brace himself and lands on Derek Carr, and they called it roughing the passer.
Oh, man.
And they were showing the replays, and Derek Carr, we talked to him, looked it over Chris Jones and went, ooh!
Yeah.
And but then with us, he was like, look, you can't do that. Sorry.
Those are the rules.
Yes, those are the rules.
Those are the rules.
I didn't make the rules. We just abide by them, But yeah,
I'm a quarterback defender, so I always thought they were roughing. Yeah, it was always roughing.
We joke about it all the time. We're like, these grown men are running and hitting and tackling and destroying their bodies. But a 15-yard penalty because he said some naughty words.
Yeah.
It seems like it's very
100%.
incongruent.
We've all said a lot of bad things.
Yeah. Seems very
trash talker.
Not really. Not really. I feel like it's always hard, too, because there's so much information that's coming into your headset.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so, like, plays can be done, and somebody could be jawing right at you, and you might have, like, your coach on there being like, hey, we're going to go 11 personnel here. Make sure you're telling Julio, he's going to Z here. He's not going to be X. And somebody's jawing at you and you're like, I didn't hear anything.
Coach, hold on, Coach. I got something to say.
Yeah.
I got something. I'm coming after you next.
That's
okay?
right.
Or as Mahomes would say to Max Crosby, you woke up the wrong mother bleeper.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There are times when that comes out.
I was going to say, there are times when you're like, all right, you know what, bleep you. Now you're getting the best of Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's funny. So Steve Scarnecchia was the head coach's assistant in Atlanta, and they used to do the mic'd ups, right? Like, so quarterbacks would be mic'd up every so often. And I forget what game it was that I was mic'd up, and he put together an outtake video of all the different ways that I dropped the F-bomb during the game, and it took like 2 minutes to go through, and they played it in the team meeting. It was really funny. It was really, really well done, but it was funny just all the different ways that you can use that. It's a good noun, verb, adjective, whatever. It's all of the above.
You can express yourself. It can be sorrow. It can
100.
be,
it was perfect.
It's a lot of things it can be. You just it's the inflection.
That's right.
It's all about that. Visiting with Matt Ryan. So people say that they don't like fantasy football stories, but I disagree. I think people do. I think people love bad beats. So I've been in many, many, many fantasy football leagues, and I've never won one. But playing back to 1990 in multiple leagues. One year, it was 2011, and it was Week 16. I was in the Super Bowl in both leagues. Matt Ryan was my quarterback in one league. I was going against Matt Ryan in the other league.
Ooh.
The final drive of that game, and it was the game that Drew Brees broke the record. So the final drive for you guys ended up getting stopped on like a 4th down or something. And on that drive, you had thrown for enough yards for me to lose in the other league, but I needed one more completion for like 5 yards to win in the other.
So I lost for you in both leagues.
And you threw an incompletion, and they brought Chris Redman out.
Oh, no!
And I saw Chris Redman come on, and my heart sank, and I'm like, there's no possible way.
No, this can't be.
I just lost both games by 1 point on that final drive for Matt Ryan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I blamed you for a long time.
Of course, it was my fault.
Yeah, my wife and I talk about it all the time. It's one of the biggest issues we have in our relationship is Matt Ryan. I'll just wake up in the middle, Matt Ryan.
I can't believe that.
She's like, honey, you're at home. You're safe. You're not playing fantasy football. You're
what
fine.
An incredible turn of events.
Yeah, incredible's one way to describe it. Yeah, so that's not.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it wasn't a good night for me either.
That's true. It was a great night for Drew.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't a great night for you guys. Matt Ryan hanging out with us here at American Century Championship. Matt, thank you so much, man. This was so much fun. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. And now that I have been able to be on this couch and talk with you and talk through it, I kind of feel like I've let that go.
I think we put closure to it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I can move on now.
I think the only person that story's interesting to, though, is me.
Yeah, well,
so I would save it.
I told the same story to Chris Redman.
And maybe him as well.
I said, Chris, I've never wanted to see you less in my life. The words I said about Chris Redman on the field.
I'll bet.
And I apologize. I lived in Louisville for 10 years, and so he's still
a
there.
Legend.
So I talked with Chris, and I told him the same story, and he's like, I didn't put myself in.
I love that.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I know you didn't, but maybe if you went out there and like, a hamstring, Matt, you got to
stay out there, Matt. Stay out there, Matt.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
We don't have those Chris Jones. We got closure on fantasy
That's
football,
right.
but not on what Chris Jones said.
We'll get to it. We'll get to the
never
bottom
know.
of it one day. We'll see. We'll find.
Let me know what he said when you find out.
It's somewhere. We've got to hear that audio. Somebody has heard it. Somebody's heard it somewhere. The audio of what Chris Jones said to Matt Ryan. So there you go. Some fantastic stuff we've had this week and really enjoyed it. And those are a couple of highlights that we've had in talking with some of the former athletes out here. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. Sterling and I wrapping up from the American Century Championship in Lake Tahoe. More Zone presented by Greenlight Dispensary. Our coverage out here. More right after this.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Over 35 years ago, Wholesale Batteries opened their doors and sold their first battery. Times have changed, but their commitment to customer service is the same. The commitment they made back in 1977 stays true today. Wholesale Battery is one of the largest distributors of motorcycle batteries in the country. Stop in for anything you need for your motorcycle. They also have you taken care of for all your lawnmower needs, laptops, ATVs, power sports, computer backups, cell phones, portable electronics. When it comes to batteries, these guys have it all. Call 913-342-0113 or at wholesalebatteries.net. The right battery the first time. The big screen is the best way to enjoy the magic of the movies. At B&B Theaters, they have the best big screens to enjoy the movies. B&B is family owned and operated and has been bringing Hollywood to your
All right, wrapping things up here in Lake Tahoe, American Century Championship. Always love the week out here. Our coverage has been presented by Greenlight Dispensary, and a fantastic week. Not only the guests that we had and talked to and the content that we were able to bring and things like that, but just the fact that we got a up-close and personal view of the farcical life that Sterling Holmes lives.
Told you.
I didn't truly understand until you found yourself in a drinking game with The Miz, David Wells, Miles Teller, and TJ Oshie.
Yeah. I've said hi to almost all those guys since then. It was The Miz came up the next day, asked if I was live, talked to him just there. He went after last night, talking to Miles about it. TJ Oshie.
Miles, look at you guys. You did first name basis. What's his middle name?
Edward. It might be Edward. I actually have no idea. If it's Edward, that'd be pretty great.
That would be awesome. It's been an awesome week. It's been a great week. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it back in Kansas City and some of the sights and sounds of this awesome tournament. Again, don't forget, tomorrow and Sunday you can still play the ACC Fantasy Golf, accfantasygolf.com. Individual days, they give away the 2 tickets, all expense paid, to next year's event. So the overall, probably not going to win because it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday combined, but the next 2 days you can certainly do that. We appreciate Greenlight Dispensary, our broadcast coverage out here, and of course we appreciate American Century for putting on this fantastic tournament and having us out here each and every year. We're getting out of here. The program is up next. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.